Everybody, and welcome to part number 2 of the PlayVS Spring 21 Collegiate Championship featuring Fortnite, where we'll be going live with NA West. And this time, I got somebody's gun joining me for the broadcast for the first time. Brother, how you doing today? How you feeling tonight?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's been a good day, solid night, ready for some Fortnite. Filling in for Reese, so I got some big shoes to fill here out on West. I'm excited though, Fallout.
I love it, man. Yeah, Reese absolutely crushed it. I've obviously had a chance to watch your work in the past. Something tells me you'll be just fine. You know a thing or two about Fortnite, man. It's a pleasure to be joining you on broadcast for the very first time. I think it's going to be a great show, great vibes. We'll be kind of killing it. And for those that are wondering, let's go ahead and jump into all the details, right? Schedule, format, pricing, and the like, and show you guys a little bit about what we're going to expect with the broadcast today. Of course, we kicked off our West broadcast here in just a moment, as game number 1 will be upon us. Of course, next week, May 13th, you can catch the trio broadcast where Somebody's Gun and I will be back for the NA East finals of the trios competition here with PlayVS. That's starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, make sure to set your calendars for next week. PlayVS has been putting on an absolute show, supporting the Fortnite scene for quite some time alongside Epic Games, which you love to see. And then, of course, we're also going to take a look at the scoring for the competition today. As you know, we obviously saw last time around in the NA West broadcast, or NA East broadcast, sorry, very placement-heavy scoring. We'll, of course, pull up the graphic here in a moment and show you guys what the scoring is going to look like, and I'll have Somebody's Gun walk us through it. But very, very placement-heavy. Very, very, of course, 4 points per elim. Somebody's Gun walk us through what we're seeing here in scoring.
Yeah, so this is what it comes down to. It's winning games and making the end of the game. Eliminations only 1 point apiece. Now we're gonna get 5 points per each placement from 21st to 70th. Another 5 points per placement from 60th to 20th, and then second to fifth, another 5 points, and then that sweet victory royale is an extra 5 points. We got to see, I mean, I watched the end of the broadcast, and Posick was able to grab the victory royale in that last game and secure it out on East. So if it's anything like we just saw, we're in for some awesome action, and it's all going to come down to these final zones here, Fallout.
Yeah, you're spot on. And just to kind of recap for those that maybe missed the NA East broadcast, it was a remarkable show. We had Daddy P dominating throughout, consistent play, won 2 games, got second place in another game, and you thought it was his game to win. And of course, we had Posick and we had Mars go huge in game number 6 to secure first and second place, respectively. And guess what? As a result, they actually took home $4,000 and $2,500, same exact prize pool that we're going to see today in the NA West broadcast as well. $50,000 total prize pool for NA West. $100,000 has been at stake today. That, of course, goes all the way down to 50th place. Again, you'll love to see the support that's being given and shown here in the PlayVS Spring College Championship. For collegiate players, this is, of course, prize pool in scholastic funds to support their college careers, which, of course, is so incredibly important. I know somebody's gone, you went to NC State. I graduated from college. Trust me, I would have loved to have had an opportunity to play in PlayVS tournaments back then. And speaking of which, let's take a look and see who will be playing today. Walk me through what you see here on screen, some of the players here.
So based on what we saw in the heats, Water Blanket is our top player to watch out for as he finished on the top. We see some big names that we know in the Fortnite scene, such as Extra Quinn and Sizz Lucky as well. But there's always new players. Fortnite is one of those games where new people pop up. We see ZD Boomer, Litzinio Games, Target Eliminated. There's going to be some new names popping up here today, and it may not be the same old that we're used to. So watch out for these new guys, because the entire player list is deserving to be in these lobbies, and solos is your chance to really prove yourself. So I'm interested to see how these guys do it. Some more names here. We got Dash GG, Save Fishy, Sorry Jade, Vex Midi, Kuma, just some other names we have in these lobbies. Anyone standing out to you here, Fallout?
Yeah, I'm looking at a few players, and obviously representing a vast variety of colleges as well. Styrefire coming from Arizona State. I'm excited to see what he can do. We got Vexemity, we got Guzzybra, Sorry Jade, which was mentioned. Dylan is fishing. He'll be just chilling, fishing, getting some floppers, and playing for late game, apparently. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But really, we have center of the U.S., so Texas, all the way to the West Coast. We have some teams and universities from Washington State University, or WSU is represented, and of course, California teams. We'll take a look at our third page here. A Magic Man, Twitch Ice Blades, Pexi, EchoBot. We have T-Mains, Henfix, and Isamu TTV. And as you mentioned, a lot of players we haven't necessarily casted a whole lot of in FNCS, as they have a chance to make a name for themselves. That's what you love about these collegiate tournaments, these scholastic tournaments. It's a chance for maybe lesser known players to really, really rise in the ranks, make a name for themselves, and hopefully, when they graduate and beyond, make a career out of competitive Fortnite. Take a look at our last page here. Walk me through some of these last players.
Yeah, Fluger's another name that I've seen in the past. OA Rubrics, Alavity. We got Merc, Rever, some The Strip, Soli, lots of other names. And like you said, I mean, whether you want to make a career out of it or not, it's always nice. I know when I was in college, if I could have made some money off of Fortnite to help me pay the bills or help me pay for my books or something, that would be huge. So these guys have a great opportunity here to bring home some cash, playing the game that I love, and I'm sure they love too. They've been playing it for this long here. One of the names we saw on the previous list is a former World Cup qualifier in Chankins. So he's been gaming for a long time down there at Houston and hoping to make another splash here today.
Right. If Girl in Red is wearing anything other than red, I'll be disappointed. But you're spot on. It's a great opportunity for these players, and I'm excited to get into the action here as game number 1 is going to be starting momentarily. I want to jump into predictions, though, and your thoughts. I know, obviously, you're not familiar with all these players, but there certainly are some standouts. If you had to pick one, just one player to win this tournament, and it's obviously tough to predict. Just a lot of these players. Who are you picking? Why? Who do you think is going to win it, and why?
Oh boy. All right, putting me on the spot here. I think I'm going to have to go to Extra Quinn, also known as Rich Homie Quinn. He's kind of the big brain style, content style of the West. And he's known for putting together lobbies, practicing solos, and doing all of the things that help you get better at the game. Still doing those things. It hasn't stopped. He's been doing them for a long time. I would expect Rich Homie Quinn or Extra Quinn to do well here today. What about you, Fallout?
You know, I'm actually very mad that I gave you the question first. I totally should have thrown that to myself first, because I was going to pick the same exact prediction. And, you know, reason being, it's hard to bet against Quinn, man. The guy's just consistent, just solid always. And the fact that he's playing on West Coast servers from California is obviously huge. You want to pick a Sizz Lucky, you want to pick a Chenkins, but they're playing state respectively, so they're gonna be a little bit higher ping. I gotta think that Quinn is the one that's gonna have the advantage, and we'll keep a close eye on it though, because certainly it's anyone's game. I didn't know that Quinn was going to college though, so kudos to him, man. While streaming full time, obviously his stream has popped off while playing and competing as a professional. He's also attending College of the Canyons, I believe, in California. So kudos to Rich Homie Quinn, aka Extra Quinn. We'll see what he can do in this one as we jump on board with Isamu to start things off.
Yeah, Isamu already grabbing an Elim to start. And we got Tyweg here outside of Lazy Lake, kind of just hanging out. Definitely see a number of players here in Lazy. It's quite contested. Some people in the nearby mountains. Looks like Tyweg's just going to be comfortable taking whatever he can get and dipping on out of there. As we mentioned earlier, very placement focused for this tournament. So an Elim helps you as far as, you know, you get a player out of the lobby, you get some extra loot, but you really got to focus on making those end games and setting yourselves up. As here's Sizz Lucky, another one of those notable players in our lobbies today.
Yeah, I don't know if Sizz dropped exactly at Coral Castle or if this is a rotation over to Coral Castle. Looks like the latter, but nonetheless, looks like I get Coral Castle for free. I mean, is there anyone in the northwest side of the map is my question. Is Sizz Lucky seems to be in a really good spot from a loot perspective. Meanwhile, Habibi over in Pleasant Park finds himself in a skirmish. A 1v1 over in Red Brick House, my favorite drop spot, going back to the Greasy Grove days, which obviously had the same exact house in POI. But this, of course, over in Pleasant. 1 versus 1 between Lizard and Habibi. We'll track this one closely and see who comes out on top.
Fallout, you just got big bonus points with me for that Greasy Grove reference. Best POI ever. But it looks like Habibi and Lizard here are going to be going at it some more, contesting each other over this upgrade. We know that the Jonesy there is an upgrade, so both players want to own this in order to be able to get those better weapons, and it looks like Habibi's pushing Lizard out.
Yeah, Habibi attending Houston Baptist. Meanwhile, University of Fraser Valley, attended by Lizard, which is Canadian. I'm learning things as I go here. British Columbia. Fun fact, I lived in British Columbia for about a year of my life up in Vancouver, Canada, working for Xbox Game Studios up there, and fell in love with BC. So any Canadians watching, anyone from the British Columbia province, anyone from the Vancouver area, I'm a big fan. And I'm not saying that means I'm going to root for Lizard in that 1v1, but I'm rooting for Lizard in that 1v1. Meanwhile, Quinn's just trying to craft up, trying to upgrade his weapons. And this is the heavy favorite, as both Somebody's Gun and I alluded to earlier. Quinn's going to be crafting in a pretty decent spot here, center map. Meanwhile, we're going to jump on board a Fluffy Panda.
And Fluffy's right outside of Coral. We just saw Sizz Lucky going for the loot here. Some shots coming through. Looks like there's a third party. I think that's the NPC that's getting involved in this action. Yes, we do hear the grenades. It's the one spot where you got grenades on the map is this NPC, and Fluffy Panda is just going to dip on out. He doesn't want any of the sauce. Sizz Lucky's going to heal up, and the fight happened, but it didn't happen for long.
And it didn't necessarily happen the way you thought it would. It was an NPC that interrupted the fight. Look, I wouldn't want the sauce of an NPC tossing grenades at me either. Look, I just completely avoid that. I'm like, if I die to an NPC, I'm going to be very depressed for the rest of the night. We've seen it happen before. We've seen raptors, we've seen animals on the map cause quite a bit of controversy and quite a bit of dismay to some of these players, of course, in our recent season. As we now jump back into that same fight we talked about a little bit ago. Habibi versus Lizard. Habibi from Houston, Lizard from Canada. Find themselves in a 1v1. BST's in the distance, Uno's in the distance, but they don't want to enter this fight necessarily just yet. They could third party if they choose to do so. But again, Habibi with these bows has been absolutely crucial in getting that early advantage in this fight.
Does get some tags, and the longer this fights, the harder it's going to be for one of these players to make it longer in this game. It's taking a lot of time, using a lot of materials, heals, all the good stuff that you need in order to make it into late game. And it looks like Habibi's the one that's putting the pressure on here. Lizard really seems to be trying to disengage, but he's having none of it. He's continuing to push and go for the play here. We'll see if it winds up working out for him. He hasn't taken much damage, so I would guess that is why he's continuing this aggressive playstyle.
Oh my goodness, Habibi almost drops and gets the shot right there. But great job from Lizard. Great defensive play from Lizard. But guess what? The third party is looming, and it's just a matter of time. Someone's going to hear the shot and third party this. But no, it's going to be Lizard that actually gets the upper hand. The defensive player in this scenario wins it. And Habibi gets punished for his over-aggression. Nice shot. I told you, Canadians and British Columbia, I gave him the blessing when he came through.
Hey, in trios, they always say you gotta win your ones. It's only down to your ones right now. You can't rely on anyone else to carry you in these solos. As we see another engagement happening here, but looks like Ice Blades wants to get out of here. Doesn't necessarily want this fight. Really is just moving on through, and ZD Boomer happen to be on the path.
Yeah, and this is what we call a lose-lose fight. If they decided to engage, stuck in Storm, pretty far rotation, it's a lose-lose scenario. You don't want to go all in that fight. You don't want to necessarily force it, which is why you see Ice Blades backing out. And now, of course, he'll be able to kind of gatekeep if he wanted to as well. Meanwhile, we're jumping on board with Jay-Wiz. Jay-Wiz finding themselves in a 1v1 against something with a PF Fluger in this one. Currently with a decent loadout, blue pump, SMG, AR in hand. And he'll just try to spam this box, get into the box of Fluger, knowing he probably has an advantage in health as Fluger's down to no shields. Jay-Wiz just trying to enter that box if he can, but no, the third party comes through.
Uh-oh, watch out. Third party's all over the place as Taka looks like he got those shots in. Gonna move on past, take the damage. Is something we'll probably talk about here in a little bit is Storm Surge. He's looking to put damage on players, regardless if you can get the Elim or not, because Storm Surge plays a factor in these stacked games, and with 88 up right now, I would expect that to be a huge piece of this match and the next few matches moving forward.
Right. We'll, of course, explain game mechanics like that, just in case there's any parents watching. You know, you love to see parents, families supporting their kids and students, competing. So we'll, of course, explain every bit of Fortnite for any new viewers that are maybe watching Fortnite for the very first time for this PlayVS Championship. Meanwhile, Jay-Wiz representing the University of Washington, Seattle campus. I also lived in Seattle I've lived everywhere, apparently, that all these players have come from. But I lived in Seattle for quite some time and had a chance to visit the UW campus. Big fan of UW. Meanwhile, jumping on board with the legend himself, World Cup qualifier in Jenkins, coming from Houston as well. We'll see what Jenkins can do. Longtime competitor in Fortnite, has been doing it and competing at a top level for very, very long, but good to see him obviously also pursuing his college degree. A lot of these players kind of creating backup plans or full-time career opportunities for themselves by going to university, which, by the way, I highly recommend. I got my college degree. I know you did as well at NC State. Alongside a full-time career in esports and gaming, it's great to pick up a marketing degree and helps kind of support my career and my trajectory as well.
And you learn a lot, whether it be in the classroom or outside of the classroom in college. Just putting yourself through all these different difficulties, I guess, of life or struggles of life. You get to start to be put on your own if you haven't been already. And whether it be balancing Fortnite and school or a job in school, you figure some stuff out, and it looks like Target Eliminated might be the one be getting eliminated right here.
Yeah, Target Eliminated trying to figure some stuff out right now because this 1v1 not necessarily favoring Target Eliminated just yet, but playing with aggression on low ground and down in HP, but hits the shots when it matters. Nice job to Target Eliminated. He says, look, I am a robot, hence my gamer tag. Target Eliminated. I don't miss shots. He takes out Dave. We have Target Eliminated the gamer tag versus Dave the gamer tag. I'm going to pick Target Eliminated 10 out of 10 times.
So Fallout, we see the tactical shotgun here in the loadout. That's something that was just newly added, as well as that infantry rifle back into Fortnite. It used to be in the game. Epic Games decided, hey, let's throw it back in. I'm interested to know, are you more of a pump shotgun, tactical? Did you like the primals? What is your go-to shotgun?
Yeah, I was not the biggest fan of Primal meta. Personally, I've always been a pump shotgun type of guy. Unlike my boy Nick Merckx, who likes to get down and dirty with the tack. I was always a pump shotgun type of guy. Accuracy is everything. When I competed and played Fortnite professionally a couple years ago, now I'm an old man and can't even try to keep up with these players. But definitely more of a pump guy over attack guy. We'll pick up attack and put it to work when needed, though.
I feel that. Yeah, it'll be
How about
interesting
yourself?
to see. I'm with you. I'd prefer the pump shotgun. For me, I don't know that I'm gonna hit all my shots, so I'd rather get one big one than try and have to hit multiple of them.
Roll the dice, you know?
Yeah, I'll take it. You know, maybe I hit that one big one, line it up, take the time versus trying to hit 4 or 5. For me, not the most mechanical player, so got to take the damage when I can get it.
X. I will say, though, there's nothing like being a controller player in a 1v1 box fight with a little aim assist support with attack shotgun just absolutely melting someone. So as a controller player, I should probably pick the tack, but nonetheless, I go for the more kind of high accuracy, skillful option with the pump. Obviously, distance as well. It's always good to hit a pump from a little longer range. And now we find Dylan going to pump with the pump in hand. In a 1v1 with Guzzy Bra right in front of them. Dylan is fishing, has one fish to their name and inventory, and a 3-person battle here. Needs to be very, very cautious because you don't want to be the first to fight. The third party is going to be way too strong.
Looks like Dylan's the one paying for this. They're both trying to hit those right-hand peaks over the walls. Dylan is at the disadvantage. You want to be on the right wall as opposed to that left one that Dylan is taking. His opponent has a slightly better peak, and it's those little things in box fights that give you an advantage. So Dylan just giving that up, takes the damage, and going to walk away, start looking at something else here. And here is the Storm Surge. We talked about it earlier, Fallout. The easiest way to explain it is the players with the least amount of damage will begin taking damage, as Dylan is actually already below at trying to get into a box here. But Storm Surge, you take 25 ticks beginning in this third zone. After the third zone, if there's more than 70 players remaining, the players with the least amount of damage dealt in the lobby will begin taking damage, 25 per, until they get above or until we drop below 70. And then same thing happens in 5th zone for 50 players, 7th zone for 30 players. So it's a constant battle of I need to get damage and we need to get players out of this lobby. Otherwise, I'm going to be the one dealing or getting dealt damage from Storm Surge.
Nailed it. Explained it brilliantly. Obviously, the purpose of that is to encourage fights early on in the game. And, you know, obviously it's a new kind of interesting mechanic to ensure that you have to also not just play for early rotates, which is what players did early on before Storm Surge. Everyone would just rotate fast and early avoid every possible fight. But now you have to also balance your Storm Surge. And, you know, balance, and when we say balance your Storm Surge, it's making sure you're doing enough damage to stay above Storm Surge. So you're not taking damage and getting taken out by a storm that will damage you if you're below. So we'll keep an eye on that as we get actually below that Storm Surge threshold. It's 70 players was the threshold that we were at moments ago. And we saw that actually come to fruition quite a bit in the NA East broadcast. Almost every single game, the first Storm Surge tag, the 70 players remaining in the lobby, came to fruition. You saw anywhere between 8 to 15 players get taken out by Storm Surge. But it seems like in NA West, a lot more aggression early on, a lot more early game fights. Perhaps we'll see the next Storm Surge come into effect to get to that 50-player threshold.
That is definitely more typical. NA East is known as the slower region. West is more of an aggressive region. So playing out how we've seen traditionally, we'll have to see how it plays out over the games. And like Fallout said, if you're a new viewer here, there's numbers on the screen to help you out. We're not just throwing these numbers out at you. In the top left corner is the number of players alive. And then down in the bottom right corner, you see that 3/9. That tells you what zone we're in. So if you're wondering what those numbers were and what we were talking about, that is exactly where you can find them. That timer down there, the mini map also gives you more information. And these are things that players have access to as well.
That's right. Rubik's on screen. Have casted some Rubik's gameplay in the past. We still got Lizard, a Canadian friend. By friend, I mean I haven't met him, but he's from Canada and British Columbia, so I already like him. We'll see what Lizard can do against Girl in Red right nearby. You Trick, Logan, Juddy, Snape also nearby. We got Snap in the mix, and we got the Trendsetter. I don't know if that's meant to be like Trend Setter, but we're going to call him him or her, the Trend Setter. Trying to set some trends here in late game. Looking like he's channeling their inner Mars with the Z, that is, which we saw win a DreamHack tournament quite literally by driving a taxi to top placement and being up, actually beating Booga in a DreamHack, one of the most legendary DreamHacks that we had, as we now jump on board with Boomer.
ZD Boomer going for it. He's kind of shambles right now as far as this entire loadout goes, but that purple pump shotgun is going to help him out. Big shots can come through with that, and he'll be on this very congested side. Again, we see the mini map. Look at all those players right on the edge of zone, and that is exactly where ZD Boomer is going to have to rotate to. So there might be some builds in the way that he can follow. He can also deal damage here onto these players to help put more builds in the way. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to be looking back here trying to get them, but Boomer cleans that up, and that's the refresh he needed.
There you go. Big plays from Boomer. I wonder how much of a Boomer he could actually be, because, you know, they're in college still playing Fortnite, but again, I'm considered a Boomer at 28 years old, which is depressing. We'll see what No Kizzy can do here. With only 86 HP to name, no shields either. It's not looking very good for No Kizzy.
He's got the Stinkfish. Could eat that for heals. Also could use it to try and get an elimination here. Nonetheless, he looks busy just trying to get himself a space as we tune in with Arrow CK, who's also not in the greatest position. A lot of players here struggling on this fourth zone rotate, which, no surprise, when we see zones like this, everyone's stacked up on top of one another. Arrow's got to be real careful. Oh, okay. I was just about to say, he's got to be real careful. He's 1 HP, and he goes down real quick as Starfire is able to scoop up that loot. I don't think he grabbed the Elim, but he's the one able to grab that loot fallout.
Right. And Storm Surge will potentially will come into effect. We're right about that 30, that 50 thresholds. If that's the case here. We got a pretty big cluster. We got Derpy is fishing and Dylan is fishing. The fishing duo, both nearby. You got to be careful, as they also have No Kizzy, Anthony, Gargantuan, Mike, Vex. I like the gamer tags here. I gotta say, NA West, a lot more creative. We have Poop Beta 2 also on screen. Dan the Man also on screen. Very, very creative gamer tags. Dan the Man not looking great in terms of inventory materials. Only 8 builds left. A lot of heals, but not a great situation for Dan the Man. He'll hopefully work his way over, be able to get some additional mats and try to make it to late game if they can. But it's dwindling down here. 48 players remain as we head into Storm 5.
I'd be really surprised if Dan the Man's able to make it to this zone with the limited number of materials that he has. And now we're checking out. Here's where the big plays are made, but Derpy, his fishing goes down. But I was just about to say, Sully is up on high ground as we see Dylan getting super aggro. He wants all the sauce right now, going for the Elims, and might wind up paying for that as he is down to 35 HP.
Right. Looking scary. 3 shots in the AR, purple AR as well for Dylan. Goodness for Poppers, and he almost gets the refresh that was needed, but only connected for 105. Of course, this individual had over the amount of damage that they could have possibly done with the headshot there with the blue pump, so would have survived regardless. Now Starfire nearby. I mentioned Starfire in the player preview. Dylan with 15 HP. Goodbye and good night. Starfire gets the pick on Dylan. Starfire, I believe, coming Arizona, if I remember correctly. Now we're on board with Sully. Really sitting on low ground. Starfire gets another one over Hekobot. And
Sully is absolutely taken down from the high ground. He was holding that, and a player that's Lucky Fan 123. Not much HP, is just able to crank right up. Looks like Sully didn't even try and prevent that from happening. He's given up height. Not exactly the best zone to hold it if you're a solo here. This is kind of when you want it in team modes, not really when you want it in solos, because you don't have the materials to be able to sustain up there on high ground. Now Sully giving us a great preview of what this zone looks like. We get to see all these players, and he's putting some shots on, punishing these people for being on the opposite side of zone. Sully just tagging everyone up.
We got Tayo, not to be confused with Teo, Fortnite professional player in NA East, playing with Tabney typically as a duo and in trios. We got, I think Tayo is still alive nearby. Lucky Fan, also from Arizona State University, alongside Starfire, currently with Ultimate High Ground and a decent amount of mats, about 21 builds in total. Will want to get a pick while they can, because it might be a little bit difficult to maintain high ground, especially with Pearl trying to contest, making it difficult for Lucky Fan and forcing Lucky Fan to use the remainder of their builds. Meanwhile, Jindo Lab can jump on board here. It's going to be a pretty lit late game here, so buckle up. Lucky Fan wants that high ground back from Pearl. Teo on screen right now. Going to get able to heal up, but someone right nearby will finally take out Teo. Teo gets destroyed by Logan Merritt. Back on board with Lucky Fan.
And Lucky Fan just doing just enough to stay alive here, but as I say that, he gets taken down. Looks like Quinn is still alive in the lobby. Logan Merritt getting more eliminations here, and Pearl wants the height, but actually does not reinforce himself enough to stay up on high ground, and it looks like someone has taken it from him. That might be Quinn, and yes, it is Quinn. Holds the high ground, looking really healthy right now as this game is going into the final few zones.
Honestly, it feels like Quinn is going to farm the rest of this lobby. He just is truly at a level of his own. Top 15 player in NA West, in my opinion, has been competing and performing so incredibly well. I'm bored with Pearl, though. I've been impressed with the edits of Pearl. So, anyone can do it. I think Pearl will be able to contest. 3 eliminations to their name right now. Brilliant edits to get low ground. The bottom right of your screen. Almost gets a 4th elimination. But low and Mats needs a refresh real bad right now as Pearl, as Quinn is just absolutely farming from the high ground. Gonna get one more. A shot from Quinn. 5 players remain.
Quinn up on height. Pearl was able to take that pepper, but has no materials to take advantage of that. Players on his wall. He dips back in the storm here, just trying to survive. Zone is pulling back his way. He's 13 HP. Can't take another tick, and down he goes. That is Logan Merritt picking this up, and now it's BTS, Kickback, Sully, and Quinn all alive. It's going to come down to this 8th zone. Maybe get to see one more. Sully looks like he might want to make a play here on the Quinn. He's waiting on his backside of Storm, does go for the chop. Quinn is too smart for that play and absolutely punishes him for trying to make it.
Yeah, brilliant job from Quinn, playing near perfect Fortnite as you'd expect. That he was able to take high ground. Absolute textbook from the vet at this point. Top streamer entertainer, top pro player in NA West, and putting in absolute work as well. With barely any AR left, connects with every single shot, absolutely lasering. Now we're on board with BST. We got a 1v1v1. BST, Sully, and Quinn. You got to think it's Quinn's game to win here. Perfect opportunity on high ground. Not a lot of AR hemo, so we'll have to do it with the good old trusty pump shotgun. Drops to low ground. Looks for the quick pick, but the builds are going to come through to keep him alive, at least for now. And it comes down to this final fight.
And now it's a 1v1. The last elim is there. Sully gets the elimination. He's pretty healthy. Has some materials, too, to make a play. Quinn drops down. Sully's able to take advantage, though, and get the high ground. That was his last build. Can he find this shot here onto Quinn? He's going to have to find it, and no, he does not. Quinn takes game 1. A big 7 elimination win for Rich Homie Quinn.
Massive start for Quinn, a near perfect gameplay as you'd expect, and a player that both of us just had to. You could not predict Quinn to win this tournament. Well, makes us look right as he, of course, takes home a first place finish to kick things off. BST, though, coming from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. If Dr. Lupo is watching, I'm sure he's proud as a fellow individual from Nebraska. And, of course, in second place is Sully from the University of Denver. Congratulations to our top 3 from game number 1, as we, of course, are going to jump to a very quick break. However, we will have the standings. We'll have game 2. We'll have quite a bit more coming at you live right after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. Oh, we got replays first, not live. Take a look at replays first. My apologies. Walk us through the replays here.
Yeah, we got to see that elim from earlier. Now no Kizzy scooping one up as well. Just sitting behind the edits, and Lucky Fan we saw was on height for a moment. Didn't last too long. And then Tokyo goes down. We're just seeing elims all over the place. It's like Oprah giving elims to everyone. Everyone in this lobby gets one, and Ledzinho might be the next one to deliver as he is getting knocked. And now the sweet, sweet plays here by Quinn up on the high ground. We saw him win this game. Not easy to do. The pressure hits in the first match. Sometimes the nerves get you in the first one, but obviously not for Quinn, able to take home this first game.
That's right. Quinn, of course, finished it out with relative ease in the 1v1. Had the advantage in terms of HP. A solid loadout. No more AR, but doesn't matter. In late game, all you need is a good old trusty pump shotgun. Quinn ends up on top, and Quinn played that entire game well. You know, from early game, rotating early, getting strong positional advantage, taking high ground at the perfect opportune moment over Pearl and others who were fighting from it. I think it was Lucky Gamer and Pearl. Takes high ground, and then Textbook finishes that one out and closes it out with a 7 elimination victory royale to kick things off. I jumped the gun before. However, now I'm going to correctly throw to a quick break as we, of course, are going to have the standings. Rich Homie Quinn on top, undoubtedly with a dominant game. We saw a couple other players, Pearl, pick up a couple eliminations, finish in the top 5, BST, and many others. We're going to jump to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll get game number 2 in standings for after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the PlayVS Spring 2021 College Championship featuring Fortnite Fallout here alongside Gunn as we just wrapped up game number 1 and Rich extra home with Quinn. Making us look pretty solid in the game 1 prediction there, Gunn.
Yeah, no, shout out to him for taking home game 1. We saw a number of players look to go play that high ground. Quinn was able to hold it and then capture that victory royale. Clean for the first win, first game of the night. We'll have to see if he can keep it up, though. Just because you win one doesn't mean that you got the tournament locked up.
That's right. Use the right word. Clean is probably the best way to describe that first game. And, Rich was looking very, very solid in that one. But let's take a look at the overall standings so you can see where else everyone wrapped up. You obviously know Rich is going to be in first place as you see Quinn with 125 points, but right behind Quinn, 102 points for Kickback, who we didn't see a whole lot of, but of course, solid fourth place is why. We didn't see him in the top 3 necessarily, but 4 elims as well. We'll put Kickback in second. Sully in third with 100 points. And you got BST in fourth with 97 points. Pearl rounds out the top 5 with 95 points, all the way down to Chispitz in 10th place. Love that gamer tag, by the way. Chispitz in 10th place with 78 points. Let's take a look at the second page. And as we switch over to the second page, walk us through it. Gun, what are you seeing here?
We got AE Lizard, your friend from BC out there, and then Henfix in 12th. J Rispy coming in at 13th, finished in 9th place. T-Mains at 14th. Water Blanket, who came on top in the heat, was our highest scoring player in heats in 15th. Jindolab, Vexmity, thanks for Siphon, I love that name. ZD Zass and Fluger rounding out the top 20 there. All looking pretty good in the first match. I mean, top 20 is probably 5th, 6th zone, so making the end game at least.
Good place to be. And it looks like we got even further standings. We got to show you guys other players that are in contention. Teo in 23rd place, Taka Vex 21st, 22nd. All the way down, we see Lucky Fan, who was doing a good job holding high ground for quite some time. Styrefire in 26th. And then, of course, Optimal Ambitions Rubik's in 30th place overall on screen here. So that's our top 30. That kind of rounds it out all the way down to 47 points as we are going to get ready to jump into gameplay here momentarily. Game number 2 is just about ready. I got to say, Quinn looked great. It's hard to see if anyone can stop him. He is obviously in a category of his own. FNCS regular competitor. What makes Quinn so great in your eyes?
So it's the knowledge of the game for me. It's understanding what needs to be done and then executing at a high level. A lot of people can understand how the game works, but it doesn't mean they can execute on it. So Quinn is that perfect combination of, all right, here's where I need to be, here's what I need to do, and then actually go in, press the keys, because there's a lot of them when you're playing Fortnite, as well as the mouse click, the aim, to make it all work. As we see, Quinn was landing over at Steamy Stacks today, and we get to see that side-by-side of the map. Look at how spread out this lobby is right now. There's rarely going to be places where you have tons of players. It's very spread out, and almost looks like Holly Hedges is our most contested POI today.
Yeah, surprisingly, you wouldn't expect Holly. Lazy Lake with 4 players, though, as well. That is a significantly contested drop spot. Quinn with 2 others in Steamy Stacks. Don't let the NPC confuse you. I believe there's 3 total that landed over in Steamy Stacks. As you see, as the quick changeover is going to come through on screen. So you expect these players to not necessarily fight, not necessarily 50-50. Should be enough loot to go around in Steamy Stacks. We'll see if they decide to take some of these fights early. But what impressed me last game is how fast Quinn rotated. Very, very quickly, we saw him in the very center of the map, as I think it was only a few minutes into the game. We'll take a look and understand his loot path here, his rotation path, but looting quickly, see how fast he decides to dip out of this one.
Yeah, deciding that position is going to be everything for him, and we see he's already moving on out, possibly looking for that bunker chest over here, and doesn't look like it spawned, but he gets to move on out this way. He'll go for it, try and smack the ground, see if he can find it. No, it is not there, Quinn. Sorry. You don't get it every game. You get it some. And he's going to have to be happy with his loot as he's already out. Oh, maybe it is here. Okay, he found it. Never mind. Better eyes than me.
Yeah, somebody's just got to go digging, Have faith. That's a good situation for Quinn here. Steamy Stacks early, quick rotation. Also gets great loot as a result. Back out and reset. Meanwhile, Taco fighting some NPCs here, fighting some raptors. Be collecting some animal bones to potentially upgrade those primal weapons if they want. Sure what their preference is in shotgun. But on board Taka right now over towards Misty Meadows and back to Lazy Lake, where we saw 4 players dropping a heavily contested Lazy Lake.
Definitely not the best POI to fight at because of all that open space. You have the buildings where you can take engagements, but if you're outside, that's third-party season for everyone. And now we're going all the way down to Camp Cod, where there's 3 players out in this area. We got one over to the right side in a better position than these two. Actually, that is probably just the NPC. Never mind. Disregard what I said. As it is
yes,
Vex.
Me too, all the time.
Vex and is that Pikachu? Maybe we play on words for Pikachu here.
Ooh, like Pikachu. Okay with that gamer tag. Vex so far gets the first crack. Off to a good start. And no, third party is going to come through. And as you also did note about Lazy Lake, one quick fun fact: last game, NA East, 2 of our top 3 players both dropped Lazy Lake, Daddy P, and of course our winner of the tournament as well. So it is a certainly contested drop spot, but a solid drop spot. You know, Benji Fishy liked to frequent Lazy Lake back in the day. We're currently on board with TD Vex against Pikachu in the 1v1. We'll see if he decides to play it with aggression.
Good old Western standoff here, just standing wall to wall waiting for someone to make the first move. And we have a similar situation going on over here with Kuma and Knack all the way at the Flopper Island up north. And luckily for both these guys, I mean, even if the situation goes poorly for one of them, they have zone nearby and not going to have to rotate too far. So win, and you get in a good position for zone, lose, and you're playing again in game 3.
Yeah, great early walls right there from Kuma, predicting where his opponent was going to go. Knack and was able to get the edit, but unfortunately couldn't connect for any shots. But he was playing mighty aggressive here for a fight that they actually have a disadvantage in terms of HP. Maybe they know something we don't know, but he can take this fight. Circle's nearby. Don't have to worry too much about Storm closing in. Kuma can just continue to gatekeep. Finally decides to actually pretend like they're running away here, bait Knack out a little bit perhaps. But again, Kuma doesn't really have a huge advantage. Obviously the floppers are going to help them, but a flopper's not going to help much if you take a shotgun to the face.
Oh yeah, that's easily one pumpable at 100 HP, but it looks like both players full disengaging here. Kuma is possibly able to catch Knack rotating away. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're going over the old Flush Factory as Isamu is here trying to get shots on Beta 2. And this is a place where a lot of players might not land, but a lot of people like to make rotations into this area because the NPC is an upgrade. We see Slurpee, anyone landing in that area, as well as Misty might make their way on over just to upgrade their weapons, as we see Isamu is doing right here.
Yeah, that upgrade's always helpful. I still contemplate, of all POIs to bring back, Flush Factory instead of Greasy Grove. I'm sure you're just as tilted as I am about that.
Oh man, we somewhat have Greasy back. You have the burger restaurant down there, but it's not fully back.
Isn't greasy as we know and love it.
Sure. Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed. I always been a fan of what Epic has done with the maps, though. The fact that they continue to pay homage to the old map, I think, is great. While also offering something new, something exciting. Kudos to the level designers over at Epic Games. And, of course, the competitive designers, making sure that we have the best weapons for competitive integrity. I gotta say, it's been great to see Epic has continuously listened to the competitive community in terms of what weapons are in. The fact that they have separate weapons and loadouts for competitive and regular now is obviously a big step up from where we were at 2-3 years ago. We watch currently as Optimal Ambitions or Rubik's finds themselves a 1 versus 1. The third party's going to come through, and now Rubik's needs to be careful here as Worley can continue to decide to press this if they want.
And Rubik's doesn't get the elimination, but he gets that player off of his wall. There's the purple shotgun. I don't know if either of them have recognized it's there. Rubik's definitely knows. He goes, grabs it. Huge upgrade from that makeshift to get the purple pump shotgun over the makeshift shotty, and that's just so much more damage output that you can punish players with. And it looks like we might just be disengaging here. Rubik's did enough to scare that player away. And now we're switching gears once again to Guzzybra, who is right under a player, not in the best position as far as health goes, likely tagged on his rotate here, and just going to heal up and relax because we're all in zone here.
Right. Board with Guzzy right now. Guzzy also from Arizona State University. And doing some quick math here and a quick fun fact for y'all. Arizona State University, or ASU, has the most representation of any team here, as you see on screen. 7 players competing in North America West here in the grand finals, the most of one university in the region. Actually, the most of any one university in either region. We didn't see any schools with 7 players representing. We saw University of Milwaukee, or Wisconsin-Milwaukee, with 4 players. Disrod was one of them in NA East. There's only ASU, or Arizona State University, with 7 players. Impressive.
And you gotta wonder if they play together. I would assume at least 2 of them are probably on the same trio, and play the PlayVS trios, which Fallout hinted at we got coming up next week. And we see Pearl, one of the players who was putting some damage out last game, getting another elim here early on, as only one zone has closed and we're still at 91 players left. Pearl tagging everyone. If you're in range, you are in the danger zone, because Pearl's going to be dishing out the damage.
Right. Pearl currently in the top 5 in the leaderboards. 5th place with 95 points. 3 elims last game and a 5th place finish. See what they can do now. On board with T-mains. In zone, and again, another one of those lose-lose scenarios. Not worth it to fight this ever. I'm sorry, friends. I know it's tempting. I know you want to flex. That person made you mad. You want to win that 1v1, but not necessarily worth it in these scenarios. Kind of a lose-lose scenario. But of course, Storm isn't too far. Bigger concern is about 1:20 seconds. Next Storm's going to be collapsing. You got to be very, very careful as we jump on board with our reigning champion, Quinn. Still lingering over towards Steamy Stacks, because he recognized, hey, I could play dead side. The right thing to do. It's the calculated thing to do if I want to make it to late game and really just run away with this tournament.
And now it might be time for him to start worrying about Storm Surge. It's nice to hang out all by yourself, and looks like he dipped on out of there, went, and I would assume upgraded his weapon, now is on his way back to try and get some extra loot here. We know that the metal is precious. It's one of the best materials. Actually, it probably is the best material in the game, depending on what you need it for. It definitely builds the strongest. So coming back over the stacks, try and get himself at least max metal. And now we're checking out what the center of this zone looks like. Here's the position. This is one side, then in the background you can see those massive mountains. Those are going to play a huge part. Players up there are really going to punish anyone trying to rotate, as Fluker comes flying in on that monster taxi.
Fluker comes flying in. Great alliteration there. Zeus. Like it.
Hey.
Watching it now. As Waterblake currently on high ground. You're nothing. We got thanks for Siphon and you're nothing. This West PlayVS region is toxic. No, I'm just playing. Some creative gamer tags, though, as we've seen on display here. Epic IDs as you're nothing, trying to clearly get in the head of their opponent. Maybe distant cousins with thanks for the Siphon, also doing the same exact thing. We had thanks in the last game rather than thanks for Siphon, just thanks. Interesting stuff for sure. As now Storm Surge warning will come to effect. Look at this, 91 players alive. I just took a look at the top left of the screen there and realized, oh my goodness, what a different story here. A tale of two tales from game 1 to game 2, where we didn't even see the third Storm Surge come into effect. Now we undoubtedly will, with 91 players alive. Quinn's got to be careful. I think you're right. We know that player we're just watching has to be careful. Kickback only 70 above is going to have to be careful as well, most likely.
Yeah, and this is scary. You see it, a minute 10, minute 15 now to get your damage done. And unfortunately, if you're not already in zone, you're going to have to make those rotates, and everyone is looking to put damage out. So you're going to get punished for those. And it's a game that constantly is changing. That is one of the best things about Fortnite, is no match is going to run exactly the same. We saw last match. Okay, there was a little bit of Storm Surge, nothing crazy. Now we're at 89 with 45 seconds remaining. Storm Surge definitely going to play a factor, and we see these players. Pikachu needs to make a play to get damage done, because otherwise he's going to go down to the Surge, and that's not how you want to end game 2.
Right. We talked about important kind of mechanic, component of competitive Fortnite, managing your Storm Surge, getting the tags early. And I'm surprised at Pikachu, because we know Pikachu was in that early fight. That 50-50 we saw over at Cape Cod, maybe decided not to fight it necessarily, as we jump on board of the strip from the University of Texas, I believe, in Austin, correctly. And to see what they can do here.
going for that med kit play, but gonna get chopped out. Not looking to be in a good spot. There's so many players in this one little area right outside of Colossal Crops. Everyone seems to get stuck in here, and that's kind of the factor that happens. You hold players, and now Kikachu needs to hold his own, get some damage done, because you're not out healing Storm Surge with 15 players that need to go down to 14, and Kikachu, make a desperation play. You can't just keep roasting your minis here. It won't work.
Right. Meanwhile, I stand corrected. The one STRP or the strip is from Arizona State University, University of Texas Austin. I apologize for getting that wrong. But now Kikachu, as you said, yeah, good luck. You know, just trying to heal your way to success. Not going to work. Magic Man gets taken out to Storm Surge. Pikachu gets taken out to Ice Blades, which I think was a fight we saw last game. Pexi takes out Trendsetter. And this is where Storm Surge really has an effect on the game. Players are going to either force fights, which is why you see the Olymp feed absolutely light up at the top left of your screen.
And BST52, who was in 4th place, finished that last game in 3rd, goes down early. So a tough game 2 after a solid start for BST. Now there's room for other people to make it up. It's not just one player, one game. You got a lot of time, and Pfluger's going down as well to Water Blanket. Quinn going for that extra Storm Surge damage, and we're seeing elims happen all over the place. We've quickly gone from 89 players down to 72 in less than 2 minutes.
Insane. Take a 71. It's Sully's going to get a pick. Nice job from Sully. Currently sitting in 3rd place. We did see Quinn, we saw Kickback, and we saw Sully all alive. BST in 4th place, obviously out of this one. Not sure if I remember if Pearl's still alive as well. But nonetheless, one of our top players continuing to play consistent here. Pexi takes out Tyweg on screen. We got to jump back on board with Quinn. We questioned his Storm Surge, and I will never doubt the man, Rich Homie Quinn, again, as he was well above Storm Surge. He manages it so incredibly well, playing this so incredibly well. Dead side, look how clean the dead side is compared to the busy side of the circle here. There's 3, maybe 4 players in the nearby vicinity, and Quinn's just going to walk this one in pretty easily.
And we saw this is what you want to do in these solo games. Everyone can now take a deep breath. Storm Surge is no longer happening, and I love this name. Likely a controller player, but, you know, he's an apologetic controller player. He's sorry, aim assist, it's a thing, okay, but at least he's going to apologize about it.
We got thank you for Siphon. We got thanks. We got aim assist, sorry. You know, clearly some great manners, at least in the Fortnite community in the West region, you know. Thank yous and sorries. But nonetheless, maybe not for the right reasons. As we take a quick scan here and see who's all alive. Optimal Ambition, Rubik still alive, Soy Duck, Giraffe, J-Wiz, Bloom Rage, Dev, Girl in Red, Water Blanket, Guzzy, we talked about earlier, from Arizona State as well. On board now with Derpy is fishing, the distant cousin, or not so distant cousin from, I think Dylan is fishing, who I think got taken out earlier.
Derpy's searching for this Elim. He gets that player down to 1 HP, and likely someone's going to be jacking that from him, not able to finish that elimination as Derpy went from aggro to now back in the box, relaxing. No shield, so can't really afford to get cracked here because that is so crucial. Once players hear that shield crack, it just becomes a noise that attracts all the bullet fire. You hear it, and now it's time to get in as Starefire appears to be the next player that is in Derpy's way, and he's going for some potential elims.
Right. Love the loadout here with the gold pump from Derpy. Purple Primal AR in hand as well. So opting for Primal upgrades with Animal Bones. Perhaps. We now have 68 players remaining. Next Storm Surge threshold, mentioned last game, will be to get down to 50 players if needed. That comes to fruition. Derpy, quick at it, not able to get the pick, and actually Dylan is still alive, but here we go. Back on board of Derpy, not looking great for him. The quick cabbage pop. Not nearly enough time to get a med kit. Of course, no shields to their name either.
Going back and forth between Derpy and Dylan. Both of them don't appear to be fishing right now, so lying to us live in the broadcast. But gonna pop the med kit, try and at least get up to 100 HP, and okay, maybe deciding not to. I don't know. Oh no, he's getting pressured. He does get pressured there and is forced out of the box. Down goes Derpy. It's all up to Dylan for the fishing gang.
See what the fishing gang can do here. as we currently are watching a overhead look. Vixemity still alive. Our boy, thanks for Siphon. JG9. Bloom Rage. Not sure if that's part of the old school Bloom crew from way back in the day. If so, that's awesome. You see Snap alive, member of Merc still alive. And speaking of Bloom Rage, you gotta jump on board with them. Finding themselves in a 1v1 against Pexy. Nearby, Pexy's gonna back out, reset. Starfire gets a pick. Top of screen, so Arizona State continues to represent. Kickback still alive as well, taking out Dan the Man.
Or Dan the Man, not the man in this game. Now we see Bloom Rage in the zone as well. Everyone appears to be positioned. We're going up north as zone pulls up to the Spire, or the Guardian Tower, as they're correctly called. And everyone appears to be on the south side, or the majority of players are on the south side. Anyone that is already on this north side in zone is going to be in a great spot. Has the King, one of those players, in a bush, just hoping no one recognizes him. He might be able to hang out here for a long time.
Can you imagine? Man just posts up in a bush throughout entirety. You know, obviously back in the day it was much harder to hide in a bush. That bush occupied maybe a 1x1 square of real estate. Now you, of course, have an entire bush to chill in. We'll see if Has the King can kind of use this to their advantage right now. 69 damage above threshold. Coincidence. You got Has the King with a gold compact SMG, gold AR, blue pump shotgun. Pretty good loadout. Finally realizes, okay, maybe this bush thing is not for me.
Yeah, he gave away his position, taking a shot, didn't even connect with him. That player just started firing away in the bush. We see Storm Surge taking effect once again. Not going to be as many players going down this game, but it looks like Jindo Lab may be the target, and he does get ticked. Not enough to take him fully down. Actually, he's going to have time to hit the med kit, as we just saw a huge drop in players as Sizlucky takes away our apologetic controller player. Aim assist, sorry.
Our apologetic controller player. Target eliminated. Not taken out. You hate to see it. Quinn's still alive. 0 eliminations here. I love it. Despite Quinn probably recognizing, look, I'm probably one of the better players in this lobby. I can play aggressive. I can ego everybody in this lobby. I have the right. Still not doing that. That's one thing I love about Quinn. Just a stand-up dude. Great individual. Got a lot of love for this guy. Got a lot of respect for Quinn. And, you know, the way he's playing right now shows his humility. Not necessarily egoing anyone or playing ultra aggressive. Just continuing to play textbook Fortnite, which is something he does so incredibly well. Always making the right decisions. Meanwhile, Chenkin's another veteran, gets a pick at the top left of your screen.
Jindo Lab literally on 1 HP, needs to get this med kit off. He does pull this first zone, and it looks like Sizlucky is popping off a little bit in the feed. I've saw his name a number of times, at least 2 or 3 elims thus far. Kickback on this high ground position, not a ton of materials. They'll only be able to hold this for a zone or 2. So needs a refresh. He has that harpoon. One of the things we haven't yet talked about here is that harpoon play is so nice for the refreshes. Whether you get the elim or not, you see some mats, you see some loot on the ground, go ahead, grab it with that harpoon. You don't even need to move. You got 35 meters in a horizontal direction, and you get up to, I believe, 60 vertically. So you got some distance on that harpoon.
Absolutely. Huge for late game, and I'm surprised you don't see more players leverage that, especially in solo competitions. Meanwhile, you're on board with Kuma. We'll see who ends up holding high ground based on where the next circle is going to pull. Right now, it's pretty even. Starfire had high ground momentarily, but I'm not sure if they maintained it as they dropped to mid or low ground. Got a pick. Soy Duck taking out Teo. Mercs Rever getting taken out. Chenkin's getting taken out. And here we go. Quinn getting one, but it's not looking great for Quinn right now, getting tracked. And there you go. Our leader from game number 1 is going to get shut down here, showing that these players, this lobby, can truly compete with the best of them, making things undoubtedly interesting.
We see Arrow CK is the one up on high ground, punishing some players, but gonna drop. Looks like we might have a contest here as Arrow just continues to move on forward. Not a ton of AR. He does find a player there in the cone who was looking to make a play, drops that player down. Now he's up on this height position in a great spot. Could find a refresh, and now we do see Sizlucky is also fragging on the low ground, but no, winds up paying a big price as he looked to go get a frag on Zas and pays for it right there.
Right. Arrow just decides to leap from high ground. I believe Water Blanket took it from him. Nice job, and now Water Blanket maintains high. And it does not have the mats to hold on to it, though, necessarily, but every placement's going to get them a significant amount of additional points here. So Water Blanket's content, holding on to high ground as long as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Arrow got a pick on the low ground. Water Blanket's going to waterfall their way down. And here we go. Here comes the fight. Here comes the late game. 3 players remain. We got Water Blanket. We got Kuma. And one other. I think it's Shave Fishy alive and well. Water Blanket looking to take right hand, looking to play aggressive, and he gets the pick, but takes some damage as a result here. So it's pretty even right now. Slight advantage to Shave Fishy with high ground.
And Shave Fishy, both of them with those purple pump shotguns. It's going to be whoever lands that first shot, about 100 HP apiece. Which player is going to look to make a play? Water Blanket goes for the chop. Shave Fishy is the one to hit the shot and takes game 2.
Brilliant stuff from Shave Fishy. You can check him out on YouTube, by the way. Show some love to our collegiate players here in the PlayVS tournament. Congrats to Shave Fishy for winning game number 2, shaking things up quite a bit in the standings. And a interesting game number 2. Quinn gets taken out, I believe, in the top 15, top 17 or so. We didn't see a whole lot of check-ins, but take a look at the replays and see exactly how everything wrapped up. Walk me through them, though. Somebody's gone.
I got you here, Fallout. We'll see what we have coming in. Likely a lot of the elims that we just saw. Kikachu went down trying to make a surge play. We see Sully able to scoop up that nice, easy elim. And then here's what we were looking at. Here was the property, the retail from the last game. And Derpy and Dylan having a tough time earlier on. Derpy more so than Dylan. Dylan was able to make it longer. Arrow CK, one of the players that scooped up most of those placement points. And we saw it. That's what happened. Trick goes down to Kuma, and that was able to have him extend his game, getting that double elim, popping off in the final moments.
Right, this is where we saw Arrow actually drop from high ground. Not sure if they got knocked and actually lost high ground or just purposely dropped. Nonetheless, maybe not the best decision. Didn't have a lot of mats to maintain it for sure. But there you go, Shave Fishy gains high ground, closes it down, and takes home the victory royale for game number 2. I don't know where Shave Fishy was in the overall standing, so we, of course, will see what that does for Shave in the grand scheme of things. But, of course, representing the University of California, Santa Barbara, Shave Fishy goes huge with the game 2 win. Congratulations to them. We're going to jump to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll have the standings. We'll tell you guys how things shook out, and then we'll, of course, jump into game number 3. Don't go anywhere. We have some more PlayVS action right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the PlayVS Spring College Championships featuring Fortnite. This is the NA West Grand Finals, where we had open qualifiers, followed by heats, followed by the top 100 players, of course, in NA West competing here in this lobby today. Top 50 from each heat yesterday. Big congratulations to those that have qualified and made it here. And, of course, a big congratulations to our players that are currently on top of the leaderboards. And speaking of which, I believe we'll have leaderboards up ready and shortly, as we, of course, do have updated standings momentarily. Quinn, of course, dominated game number 1 with the win. And guess what? Let's take a look here. Quinn is still on top, but just barely. 185 points, right ahead of Kickback, who holds on to their second place spot. Water Blanket bursts up in the standings with 178 points. Pearl right after goes up one standing to fourth with 163, followed by Knack with 162, tied with Latino Games 09, who we didn't really watch a whole lot of in game number 1 and 2. Gun.
And Shave Fishy, our winner of the last game, rounds out our top 10 here. Not a great first game, but has a solid second match as we get to see some players who either had one really solid game or a couple of consistent games here from Sully, Fluffy Panda, Arrow CK. Matt has Peppers. We got Code Energy, TD Vex, Teo, Logdog, Kuma, and JG9. Those are our top 20, and it's pretty close. I mean, we saw it was a little above 400 total points over on NA East. I would expect it to be similar here on NA West. So lots of room, lots of work still to do for these guys if they want that top spot. But at the end of the day, even top 50 makes some cash.
Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting because, it's so early, and honestly, based on games 1 and 2, we saw very different players alive in the top 5. It wasn't like NA East where you saw the same 3 or 4 players in Posic and in ours and so many others, Daddy P, that continue to play consistently throughout. Completely different games 1 and 2, so it's hard to predict who's going to continue to roll here going into game 3 and 4. And we're speaking of which, game 3 is just about ready. We'll be loading in and jumping in just a moment, but it's hard to tell who's going to continue to play well. I'm excited to see if Quinn, of course, is the heavy favorite, will continue to perform. I think that's kind of a staple and a given at this point. But then you have players like Sully that showed up well in game number 1, didn't really make a lot of noise in game number 2. You have other players who didn't necessarily show up in game number 1, but showed up in game number 2. So game number 3 will be interesting here. It's kind of hard to predict, wouldn't you say, Gun?
Oh, 100% agree with you on that one, Fallout. It is not an easy game to predict, but what we've seen now is Water Blanket was able to secure a lot of points in the heats, and likely that was from his height plays later on in the game. So we saw him on height in those moving zones in this previous match. Maybe that's a strategy that he's looking to implement in these next few games. I don't know. It all depends. Sometimes you want to do certain things, but your materials, your loadout tell you, yeah, buddy, that's not happening in this game.
Yeah, that's right. And I like that. Something I like about, Fortnite and the top players in Fortnite that have the wherewithal to recognize situational gameplay based on my loadout, based on my material count, based on how, griefed I got early game, how many fights I got in early game, based on my storm surge situation. There's so many factors that cause you to have to play completely different in the late game. If you have the mats, if you have a lot of AR ammo, play for high ground. There's no reason not to. If you have floppers, you can play for retakes of high ground. And there's a variety of ways to play and change your play style based on what your loadout, what your situation is. I think the best players are the ones that have practiced so much that regardless of situation, they're able to adapt and able to perform. Not sure if you'd kind of agree with that or add anything else to that.
I mean, it is crazy to see how players can go from absolutely stacked to shambles and vice versa, and then continuously dig themselves out of holes where most players are like, all right, I got nothing left. Like, good luck. I'm going to just start running. But that's what makes the difference between the top tier players and the rest of the lobby is these guys are comfortable in situations, like they said, and continuously just get game in and game out of solid plays.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. And guess what? Game number 3 is ready. Players are dropped, and you already know we got to jump on board with our second place player to show some love to Kickback. We showed some love to Quinn last game. Well, take a look where Kickback's dropping. It looks like it's over in Sweaty Sands. Well, they're going to get a significant amount of loot here, splitting up Sweaty Sands. Meanwhile, Shavefish, our winner from last game, we'll keep a close eye on as well. Consistency was a big question for Shavefish. Whether or not game 2 win was a fluke, we'll foresee in this game. I'm excited to watch what Shavefish on YouTube can do here in game number 3 as well.
And you don't win a game by a fluke. I don't think so, at least. I mean, maybe accidentally you can do well. I would think that he's got some plays up his sleeve. It worked in game 2. Maybe he threw all the cards on the table and has got nothing left for him here, Fallout. One interesting point. There was a double llama spawn out to the east of Holly Hedges, and I'm interested to see what player was landing on those, because there was a player out in that position, and that guy is in a solid spot right off the rip.
I'd be the happiest man alive if in a competitive game of Fortnite I just stumble upon a double llama setup. You're going to get blessed at that point, and you feel like you have to perform here in game number 3. And we'll be interested to see what the situation is there as well as we jump aboard over towards Craggy Cliffs and see. You trick right now, looting up, trying to gain as much control as possible. And early the game looting. Here's a chest right above, and these seems like a pretty far rotation, as I believe we have another south circle here. Lazy Lake players that are dropping over in Lazy will be in a pretty solid situation here as we are on board with Tony Pones right now. Currently sitting with 37 points. The lobby has some work to do.
And it looks like we've had a player move out of Lazy Lake, because in the past couple of matches we've had 4, it looks like 3, or they just dipped out super early. And now we're going to one of our fishing players as well as our apologetic controller player, Aim Assist. Sorry. Derpy just going to take some shots on, and Aim Assist is going to roll on out of there, as both players do not want to really get in an engagement here, just taking the leftovers from each other's loot. Derpy likely landed up at that radio tower, grabbed whatever NPC loot he was able to get from that, and now this is one of my favorite NPCs. This is actually what I do for my solo drop spot. This guy sells you some mechanical parts, so if you're looking for an upgrade or some easy gold, that is the dude.
That's your guy, huh?
He's the man. He's always got it.
He's a man. He's a supplier. He hooks you up with some mechanical. It's not necessarily the upgrading NPC, but the fact that you get some mechanical parts, you could do your own upgrading through crafting. Good situation right there, and some strats coming through from Gun as well as we now jump on board with Boomer. Boomer finds himself in a 1 versus 1. Good crack coming through on Whirly, and there's the Elip. Great work coming through from Boomer with 86 points. Making slight work right there out of Whirly VC.
And it looks like there's a couple players with that ZD tag. I'm not exactly sure what it means. If any of the players are in the chat or you know what the ZD tag is, hey, please let us know. I'd be interested. Now we check out the edge of the map here, and these are fights that are tough to have. Both these guys probably going for more of a shambles loot path, just grabbing the outskirt loot, as Chaos Anthony is actually looking to be on a good loadout as Hectobell up on the high ground, almost looking like he's disengaging right now.
I don't know what ZD stands for, but I do know that Boomer is coming from the University of California, Los Angeles, a.k.a. UCLA Bruins, I believe. Big shout out to UCLA. And Boomer, who's representing, I think the only player from UCLA in this tournament. Actually, I take that back. We got ZD Zaz, the other member of ZD, so I wonder if it's a UCLA thing. We also got Omar representing UCLA esports as well. So big shout out to the UCLA esports program. I'm not sure if they're one of the 70 schools that offers Fortnite scholarships, but it's just crazy to me that any high school players watching right now, any college players that are looking to go to college, play Fortnite, can get a scholarship to play Fortnite, go to school, get their degree, which is, in my opinion, the wise thing, the smart thing to do, while also pursuing a Fortnite career and playing Fortnite for a collegiate living, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is really sweet. Not sure that was an option back when we were in school, Fallout, but
exactly.
Hey, the fact that these guys get to do it and more to come will have the option as esports become more and more mainstream is awesome. I absolutely love to see it as Soy Duck hitting the walls here. Bankai trying to get this elim, and this is one of those shambles early game fights where neither player has much. It's just going to come down to who hits their shots.
Right. Soy Duck wants this one, but there you go. Bankai's going to spaz into the box of Soy Duck, trying to get a cheeky little pop, catching Soy Duck off guard with pump shotgun. Not going to do so just yet. And yeah, pretty even fight right here. Both are in circles, so you can expect this fight to persist for quite some time. Nice edit from Soy Duck, and Bankai is just playing with fire at this point. Soy Duck has the edits, has the advantage. Bankai is just a madman.
And we do see he's just looking, waiting for the shot. Neither player wants to make a move. This is a passive fight if I've ever seen one. No one going for that final shot, and I think they both know that each other are weak, and it looks like Bankai is able to take that one, and Soyduk's going to go down. Now we're back with Shinigami.
Yeah, and Soyduk there didn't have a shotgun, had very little ammo, so I'm not sure why Soyduk was playing that with such aggression. But nonetheless, Bankai capitalizes with the shotgun in hand. Nice job to Bankai. As things slow down here a little bit, and we were talking about the opportunity to get a scholarship in college, but honestly, organizations that support both collegiate organizations and collegiate programs, and also, of course, organizations like PlayVS that make this all possible, really have helped advance collegiate high school esports 5 to 10 years earlier than I think it would have otherwise, right? Now, the story of PlayVS is an amazing one, founded by a gentleman out of Detroit, young man in his 20s, I believe. It's been amazing to see how PlayVS has grown significantly, received investment, and now supports the Fortnite scene in a major, major way, putting on tournaments like this for college players, and also, fueling, powering collegiate and high school gaming and esports programs around the country and in Canada. It's been awesome to see. Now jump on board with Dev for real, for real.
100%. I mean, I don't think a game such as Fortnite is able to develop a high school and collegiate scene naturally as quick as PlayVS has allowed that to do. And you got to give a shout out. I mean, Zach Dreamsloth, he's in the chat. I know I've helped out in other seasons, but Zach is always doing so much. You got to give him a shout out, as well as all the other volunteers that help with PlayVS, because without them, a lot of this wouldn't have happened and still wouldn't be possible.
Yep. Not agree more with that. Big shout out to Dreamsloth, aka Zach, supporting the PlayVS and collegiate scene. Make sure to follow my man Zach, aka Dreamsloth, on Twitter at Dreamsloth, one word. Awesome stuff, supporting the scene and giving college players a chance to fuel their education. With Scholastic Awards here, $100,000 in Scholastic Awards given away, help people kind of continue and progress their college academics, which is great to see. As we now jump on board with T-Mains. 88 players left in this lobby. It's another quiet game number 3, much like we saw in game number 2 after a very, very aggro early game in game number 1. Looks like the lobby's kind of standardized or neutralized a little bit. Players have gotten used to drop spots or testing less and less. Now we see Isamu fighting against Guzi in the storm here. A pretty far rotation in 2 minutes, it looks like.
He's got 3 med kits, so this isn't going to be too bad for Isamu if he can get the shots off. The mats are looking good, and the player's jumping right on his head here. Needs to be careful, because if he gets pressured long enough, those med kits do you no good. And now I think Isamu has realized what is going on. We're this deep in Storm, and it's time to move on out of here. I'll fight you on the other side, my guy. If we want to do that, we can. If not, I'm cool moving to the end game.
By the wise decision here. And medkit number 1 will be popped. Only 1 medkit for Guzzy, and here comes the gatekeeping. Not the best situation for Guzzy, bro. Just lingering around here, staying in Storm, and going to work the wide angle. Wise decision. Wisely backing out of that one as we jump on board with Fluffy Panda 455, currently with 125 points. Fluffy Panda coming into this game was in 12th place overall. Solid showing so far from the Fluffmeister.
And he has my ideal loadout. In solos, I'm all about those mini and flopper combos. I'm not a big fan of the large shield potions, or I guess they're just regular shield potions. Everyone calls them large shields or big pots, whatever you want to call them. You tend not to have enough time to get off one of those big pots. The floppers, the minis, Slurpfish, all of those are real quick heals, and that's exactly what you guys want to be holding, at least in my opinion. I just think it's better off, because once you get past, a second or third zone, as we do see a big pot getting popped right here, it's hard to do. It's not going to be viable for most players.
So, on board now with Starfire TV, who 134 points is in the top 15. We've seen Starfire a few times play very, very well. Part of the ASU, Arizona State crew, 7 deep in this tournament, in this competition. I'll switch over to Ice Blades, who you can also find streaming on Twitch. Again, big support these players. Maybe bless Ice Blades with some love in the chat right now. Also part of Arizona State. Not a lot of ice or Ice Blades in Arizona State or in Arizona. Probably a little hot down there in the desert, but let's see what Ice Blades can do here.
And I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but Ice Blades rocking the Rey skin on May the 4th. Happy Star Wars Day for all you Star Wars fans. You got some different skins. You could rock the Stormtroopers as well if you want. We see Rey and Ice Blades showing up with the Rey skin today.
Right. I had to drop by Ice Blades stream and bless him real quick as Ice Blades currently finds himself in a 1v1. Dropped a little good luck Ice Blades in the chat, much like Reese did for an agenda we were watching last tournament. Let's see what Ice Blades can do in this 1v though. Ice Blade versus King. Not to be confused with the King you maybe know, from Argentina. Top 3 in the World Cup. Solos competition. We'll see what Ice Blades can do right now. In this one, wisely decides to be careful, check their back, and see maybe I can get some long-range damage, some poke, some prod. We'll see what Ice Blades can do here.
Now we see this map playing out. Pretty congested down there in Lazy Lake where Ice Blades is at. Otherwise, everyone else is pretty much just spread out. And Pearl, one of the more aggressive players, looking for some more eliminations. We see 13 seconds until this third zone pops, and Storm Surge once again going to play a big factor. Pearl knows that, continuing to put shots on, and likely that's why other players are firing away. It's all going to come down to who has the most damage here in a few seconds. And good luck, everybody. If you're below Storm Surge, it might be too late.
Yeah. It is going to be a scary, scary Storm Surge reckoning for quite a few players in this lobby here. 12 players will be taken out momentarily. Pearl 140 above should be chilling, but look at this kickback. Actually, one of our top players and most consistent players. Ice Blade's going to get taken out, unfortunately. Try giving some love to the one and only, but Ice Blades does get eliminated. Now on board with Kick Blades. 38 above, and again, surprising here, our second place player in the standings right now, right behind Quinn in first. Only 35 above, so might want to find themselves some damage if they can. But should be okay, at least for the time being. 10 more players will be eliminated before Kickback has to worry too much, but that, of course, threshold might be lowering here momentarily.
Yeah, he's definitely got to look for some shots. He does get a few, and now we're going to tune in to TSG Smacked, who is one of the players struggling with this Storm Surge. He's below and looking to back off rather than continue to go and find some pressure. He looks for another angle here. No Kizzy's right there. He's actually jumping almost right into his own gas cannon. He's got one more tick after. Otherwise, he's going down. He does not connect on that shot, and that's going to be it here for him.
Yeah, missed the shot that they needed. But nice shot from No Kizzy, actually gets the elim. Otherwise, Storm Surge would have taken them out. Meanwhile, Skittle is taken out by Storm Surge. Chenkins, World Cup qualifier from Texas, gets one as well. On board now with Dave. Dave hugs and kisses. I like it. Very, very friendly gamer tags, again, coming through from the West region. And, of course, Quinn changing up the skin from last game. A little shake-up. Didn't work out well from game number 2. As we're seeing now what Quinn can do on the rotation. Dropping steamy stacks. And now, very, very solid dead side rotation coming through to the zone. Should be in a pretty decent spot. Just needs to continue to watch their back.
And now we're checking out the action in the center of the zone. It looks like Vexamy is struggling as he's right in the middle of everyone, and that's how you get lobby focused. You got to be careful. Kickback looking for some other shots, and that's going to be Fluffy Panda here. The AR ammo not looking good for really anyone that we've tuned into. Lots of players struggling with AR as we see. Nice little loot llama surprise for a player here.
Middle of the water, hiding the world. Llama gets taken out. Kickback now with 94 builds, but so low in ammo. As mentioned, we'll see what Kickback can do. 67 players alive in this lobby, so likely we may see another Storm Surge situation here in the future. We'll see if that comes to fruition. 2 floppers, which would be helpful for late game. If Kickback can get a refresh, can get some ammo, honestly, it could be another great game for Kickback. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Meanwhile, Boomer takes out King. We see Boomer continue to warm up.
And someone in chat said that ZD stands for Team Zyda, so thank you. I believe it was Mango in chat shared with us, Team Zyda. So
appreciate you, fam.
now we know ZD does have a meeting behind it, and the couple of players there, as Pikachu able to scoop up some extra loot there using that harpoon. North side, fairly free. South side is where everyone is hanging out. I guess it's a nice day, and that's everyone's going to the south side here. We'll have to see where this zone pops and where these players want to rotate, because looking like Pearl has a free one, but everyone that goes late is really going to struggle. The later you go on these rotates, the more people that are in zone, the more people are looking back at you that are taking shots. So typically early is better, but not always.
Board with Pearl now, currently in 4th place. Been in the top 5 throughout, and looking to make it to another late game here. Kudos to Pearl, 60 players left, though. Certainly has a lot of work to do. Sully, another player that performed in game number 1, did not perform necessarily as well in game 2, looking to bounce back in game number 3. Dan the Man with the pick over team Zeta. I think.
I believe it was Zaida, Z-A-I-D-A. So
Zaida, okay, good luck. Zaida.
I got you. Well, actually, Mango has you, but...
Thank you, Mango. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all in chat as well. I see you, Manson Neon, who said I'm late. Forgot to tune out today. Appreciate you being here nonetheless. Thank you, boss, man. And West players built different. I agree. Got clapped in the chat. Thank you all so much for hanging out tonight. It's part of the PlayVS broadcast. Fallout here alongside Somebody's Gun, as we have been enjoying the action here in PlayVS collegiate gameplay, watching so much top talent in the college scene here in North America, Canada, and the U.S. I'm with Water Blanket right now, currently in the top 3. 1 elimination, but in kind of shambles right now from an HP perspective. No shields to their name either. Needs to be careful.
Yeah, Water Blanket's just going to be happy to make this next zone rotate. Both players super weak. He's able to get that elimination, scoop up some extra mats, but I doubt that rotation works for him, and it looks like he does possibly get taken down there in the feed. Yes, he does go down. Okay, I saw the arrow disappear, and I figured he was, but wanted to confirm in the feed, and now Dan the Man looking like the next target to get eliminated. It hits the 100, but not enough. Down he goes.
Try from Dan. Here goes that. There's the harpoon is so crucial. Again, textbook from when no AR ammo. Was praying and hoping for some AR ammo right there, but wasn't able to get it just yet. As you see a ridiculous cluster of players, an absolutely stacked late game here. We'll see where half in, half out, and then moving circles end up going, because it might be a pretty tough rotation for all these individuals on the fast side of the circle here. Is Lucky, another top pro player, still alive in this one. I believe from the University of Houston or somewhere in Texas, still alive as well.
Sis Lucky, one of the more underappreciated players in the scene. I mean, the guy has been so consistent, maybe not on the same level he was earlier in his gaming days, but still, you can't disrespect Sis Lucky. He's a veteran. He's one of the reasons that some of these younger guys probably are playing, and love to see him still competing. He's definitely still playing FNCS as well, as Quinn coming in. Probably looking for a refresh with no AR ammo like you mentioned earlier, but gets tagged big time. And that's tough, and he gets dropped down. Oof. He goes down to Jenkins.
That's right. Quick correction, says Lucky attending Oklahoma State University. Okay. Cowboys. Good job. Right there from Jenkins, though, taken out our heavy favorite, Quinn. 48 players remain in this one, so it's dropped quite a bit because of that early cluster. Caused a lot of players to get taken out. Pikachu taking out Henfix on board with Daddy J-Wiz right now. Trying to hold on to high ground and has decent mats. Not necessarily enough to probably maintain high ground through the late game. We'll see, of course, where the Storm will pull on rotating circles. But for now, J-Wiz looking to see if he can get a cross map pick.
It looks like Bluff Rabbit. He's a fan favorite from what I've been reading in chat. Goes down here. And now we get to see Knack, a player we haven't really tuned in with, but 198 points already up there on the leaderboard and in a good spot to make these rotations. This is one of the toughest calls, I think, in these games. You see the first moving zone, and there's still 40 players in this small space. What is the call? How do you actually get through these zones? It's really hard because the answer is constantly changing.
That's right, especially with the mobility or lack thereof and kind of the current meta, bouncers, and no more rift to goes, things like that, to make it a lot more difficult to make these rotations a reality. You have to kind of do it the old-fashioned way, either tunnel your way through, early rotate. all comes down to who can hit their shots in the rotations. Target eliminated, getting taken out. On board with Pearl right now. TSG Sidla takes out Sorry Jade. Now, Pearl getting destroyed from the high ground, and of course, high ground probably has never been more important given the fact that there's not a lot of retake potential on high ground. You can still kind of focus on flopper meta, but it's not nearly as strong as it once was. Pikachu currently holding high ground. We'll see how long they can do it for. Pearl with the pepper and name gets a huge pick right there. Peekaboo finds one with the quick headshot and just keeps on running.
Pearl on the peppers. The peppers are such a nice play, especially in these end games and in solos. We'll see if he looks to try and take high ground here. Didn't grab any of that extra loot. He is looking up at height, knocks them down. That's going to be helpful. Not looking for it yet, but might here in the future. No, just wants to stay ahead, using those peppers to get frontside, and he is zooming right now.
Absolutely. It might actually take high ground here, contesting it. Get coned. He has to reset this build fight. And going all lit on this build fight. Still has enough builds to hold high ground now that he's earned it. Good job from Pearl. Loving what I'm seeing right now. 25 total builds to name, and now just gets to have the most fortunate position in the game, raining down on everybody else, hopefully trying to get a pick or two if Pearl can. Great situation, and Pearl so far wins the most consistent award game over game. I've been very impressed by Pearl's gameplay. And now we have 11 players remaining. BST also alive after a good game number 1.
Knock is still in this lobby. We see Lucky is still alive, looking and lurking on the low ground. Pearl just dominating this high ground play with the peppers. Only a few more builds to play it out. Lucky goes down there to Derpy. Fluger and Derpy are box to box. Knack, BST fighting, and Pearl's just putting his feet up now here on the high ground. Doesn't have to worry about much while everyone else down below takes each other out.
Right. Best situation to be in. Kick your feet up, relax, and enjoy the show. But of course, you get a pick or two along the way. We're looking for one. Derpy is fishing, gets the pick on Knack. One of our fishing duo. It all comes down to this. 3 players remain here. We got BST again in the top 3. We got Pearl, and we got Derpy. Derpy and BST fighting on the low ground. BST's going to get tagged up, and goodbye and good night. Pearl wants the fight, though. Pearl's going to actually drop from high ground momentarily. Both players near even in HP. It all comes down to this final 1v1.
Pearl, Derpy, wall to wall here. Who's going to be able to take this engagement? We're going through an unbreakable wall here at the crops. Pearl goes up above it. Derpy looks to go around it. Derpy, no materials, needs to look up. He doesn't find it, but no! Pearl misses the shots and Derpy takes the game. What a play there by Derpy. Fish, fish, fish.
You gotta be kidding me. Derpy had no business winning that game. Pearl connected for the first 120 damage, but some way, somehow, a pump to the face for Pearl. Quick switch over to the AR and finishing that one off. Derpy is able to come out on top and get the extra 9 points, I believe it is, for first place. Kudos and congrats to Derpy Fishy winning that one in game number 1. An interesting finish. Again, Pearl wins most consistent. Derpy wins probably the flashiest, best play we've seen so far on stream as we take a look at the replays here.
Yeah, that was impressive to see, and maybe we'll get to see it here on the replays. I would expect Pearl to be at the top of the leaderboard as Dan the Man goes down. We see that again, and lots of players. These are all the elims. You want a quick recap of what happened? Well, 99 players went out of this last lobby, and only one of them came out on top.
Right. Crazy game right there. So, Latino Games, we haven't watched a whole lot of on broadcast, but it's been performing pretty well. Ultimately got taken out here in the top 11. Got 11th place by BST. And then BST just kind of got caught. Builds out. Taken out from Derpy. And then it was the Derpy show. Look at this replay here. Wow. From 0 to 100 real quick right there as Derpy's able to take out Pearl and take home the Victory Royale. What a finish that was. And I'm excited to see what that's going to do because you're right. Quinn certainly is no longer going to be in first place. Pearl's been most consistent. Is it enough to take the first place spot? I don't know what that's going to do for Derpy. We're, of course, going to take a very quick break, though. When we come back, we will have the standings. We'll have game number 4. We are past the halfway point here, and this is where things get interesting in the second half of the tournament. We'll be back in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. 3 games down and 3 games to go here as we've had a great few games so far of gameplay. It has been fun to watch the NA West Finals, much like it was the NA East Finals. Fallout here alongside somebody's gun. I got to ask you, 3 games in, what are you enjoying so far the most?
I mean, just the plays from players that I've never heard of. We saw Pearl, we see Knack being super consistent, and Derpy is fishing, able to take that final match. So these guys taking the spotlight, it's shining right on them, and they're not afraid of it. Their shadows behind them, they're only looking forward.
Really performing when it matters the most. You like to see it. And again, even against the likes of players like Jenkins, players like Quinn, who have competed on the highest stage. So it's awesome to see. Perhaps we have some future stars in FNCS, and maybe some of those future stars might be on this top 10 page in leaderboard. Let's take a look as the leaderboards and the standings are ready. And displacing Quinn in first place is actually going to be Knack in first over Pearl. A player we haven't really talked a whole lot about or watched a whole lot of, but Knack's been performing. Another very consistent player in first, Pearl in second with 259 points. Latino Games in third, and there you have it. Quinn right after with 206. Water Blankets round out the top 5, followed by BST, ZD, Zaz, Kickback, Sully, and Shave Fishy in 10th place. As we take a look at the second page here, and Gun, walk us through the second page.
Yeah, we got Gremlin, Fluffy Panda, Derpy is fishing after his big win there in 13th. Log Dog in 14th. Sizz Lucky coming up the leaderboards. George W right there. We got Styrefire, J-Wiz, Lizard, and Fluger, who just like Shea Fishy, hanging out at the same spot. Shea Fishy in 10th, Fluger holding down those 20th spot. Both of those guys remaining consistent at the very least, so that's something.
That's right. Consistency is key, apparently. And it's a big game for Derpy, all the way to 13th place. Got 48th and 64th place, respectively, in games 1 and 2. Only had 2 elims across those 2 games. Then pops off with a 9 elim first place finish. Huge game right there for Derpy Fishy. Derpy Fishy. Derpy is fishing. No, he's not fishy. He's fishing. The act of. We'll see if they can keep up that consistency here going into the next game. But a good showing for Derpy as we head into game number 4, the second half of this tournament. This is where things get interesting, right? You know, we saw last tournament, Owl in NA East didn't have the best first 3 games, but popped off games 4, 5, and 6, and ended up actually placing within the top 11, I believe. So certainly opportunities for players like Dylan Fishy. We saw Sizz Lucky break into the top 20. We haven't seen a whole lot of Jenkins in the top 20 or top 30 even, I don't think. So I'm excited to see which of these players can go big here in the second half.
Yeah, lots of points still to be earned. You could have those 1 or 2 pop-off games and put yourself right up the leaderboard. I mean, we just saw Derpy do it after a couple of middling games. Then, you know, you get the win, you secure those points, and now you're right in the mix of it with everyone else. But as every game goes by, it becomes harder and harder to do that. These top guys, Pearl, Knack, they're super consistent. We've seen them in every single end game, making plays, getting those points. And now it's up to anyone else to try and dethrone them, because I doubt these guys are just going to give it up Fallout.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, that deficit is starting to grow, right? If you look at the top 3, 268, 259, and 240 points. Big gap, 40-point difference to Quinn in 4th place, and an even bigger gap as you start to get down to 9th place, 178 points. But I completely agreed, though. I think there are a lot of these players certainly have a chance to bounce back. If Knack, Pearl, and Latino continue their consistency, though, that lead will just increase and increase. So I'm excited to see what will happen here in game number 4, because guess what? Game 4 is just about ready. We're going to jump into gameplay here as the battle bus is flying across the map. Players are dropping in. We'll see exactly where they're going to land. We know Quinn has been landing steamy stacks. We know Lazy Lakes has been absolutely lit. We haven't really caught the action and seen much over in Misty Meadows and some other POIs. We've seen some Pleasant Park action. And, you know, we unfortunately have not seen much of our beloved, whatever's left of Greasy Grove.
And now we're checking in Knack in first place here, and he's going stealthy. There is that bunker chest right to the outside. Someone is contesting, or at least trying to, and it looks like that's Haz going for it. Oh. And, hey, welcome to the Elim feed, Haz. Knack is going to clean that one up.
Huge. Knack knows he's on stream right now, maybe. A little emote in. A little BM, you like to see it. Having some fun with it. And gets the bunker chest as a result. So great work right there. Going to keep his head in a swivel and just absolutely beam hack Derpy. Winning game number 3. Knack's in first place, but Derpy was the first place winner from game number 3 with a huge game from them. Meanwhile, the Strip's going to also hit it with a quick dance with it over the other side of the map, although the Strip's currently, I think, in like 75th place, so not much to dance about, but I guess he's in the disco area, so he has to, by association.
Hey, that music probably just blasting. He needed to celebrate, and Knack getting that purple compact SMG. Not exactly what you want to be coming out of those bunker chests. I mean, I'd definitely be looking for the AR or the shotgun coming out of there. Either way, SMG, not that bad. It definitely has power in this new season as we see Derpy able to get himself a bunker chest as well. And hey, there you go. There's the AR that you're looking for.
You just manifested that. I hope you know that was all you. You brought that to existence.
Hey, you're welcome, Derpy. I'll take 30%.
Of the Scholastic. You want to go back to college? Is that what you're saying?
Probably not for a long time.
Maybe go to grad school, get your master's. You know, it's all possible. On board now with Derpy Fishy having to make a rotation. Rotating early. Smart decision here from Derpy. Is a quick rotation through. Wants to avoid the madness, the kerfunkle that is any late game fight. This is your buddy who helps you craft and upgrade your weapon, but Derpy not a whole lot to upgrade outside of that pump right here, as Derpy's in a pretty good spot with the purple AR that dropped. And we'll use that to get some mechanical parts. Gonna also loot up here. Derpy's in a pretty good spot, I gotta say, going into this late game.
And Derpy is also nearby the dub shotgun, so nobody's using that strategy thus far. Not saying it's not going to be used yet, but we've seen it used in some solo gameplay, definitely in trio gameplay, especially out in EU. Those guys, Cammy, Seti, and Teak, love to go and grab that dub shotgun and then just fly all over the map with it. So I'd be interested to see if any of these solo players have a strategy to be able to secure it themselves. Haven't seen it thus far, but we got, like you said earlier, we're halfway through. We got some time.
That's true. We didn't see it in NA East as well, but perhaps. Juddy can take some long-range poke. 3 players dropping craggy cliffs we saw a little bit ago. Quite a few players over to fossil crops, so a little lit in the C drop spots. Juddy needs to be careful here as Girl in Red putting some pressure on Juddy just moments ago. But Juddy should be able to recover here. Has, of course, shield potions to do so. Looting back up, but a lot of players nearby. Be a little bit careful here.
Definitely need to be careful. It's an early part of the game, and you never know if your RNG is better than their RNG. And it looks like Tax is just trying to sneak around there on the low ground. Doesn't want to give up his positioning, and Juddy says, I'm not messing with that. I'm just getting out of here. You can go ahead, crouch around all you want. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know if Juddy had the sixth sense right there, but Taxes was being sneaky with it. We wanted to wait for the perfect or most opportune moment, but sometimes the most opportune moment is the moment before you realize that, it might be too late. Is now Chispitz finds himself in a 1 versus 1. 92 players alive still. Again, and that first game was the fluke in terms of how aggressive things were early. On board with Beta. Beta right now is against Isamu in a 1v1. Isamu is the aggressor and misses the shot that matters the most, and unfortunately is taken out by Beta.
That damage output was just so high there by Beta with the spray weapon. Now we're back to Guzzy here, who's in another engagement. Not too far away from what we were just watching. Guzzy could potentially get third-partied by Beta if they decide to do this. And once again, seeing the disengage. This is a common theme today. Everyone just wants to get out of these engagements. But this player is looking for the siphon. He hasn't said thanks yet. He's just looking for it now.
Third party by Beta or by Raptors, perhaps. A Raptor nearby, and there's this spot last game where we saw a Raptor actually demolish a player. Interestingly enough, nice trade, kind of even for both players here, but advantage Guzzy right now. Could pop some shields and will pop some shields. I don't know if Siphon has shields as well. It's only a big pop for Siphon, actually.
And the big pot comes through there for Guzzy. He still has a solid loadout, and it looks like Siphon's trying to sneak away. Guzzy might look to chase this or at least get some shots as he drives, but the disengage comes. Once again, we're seeing a hard disengage by one of the players. And after you get tagged up a good bit like that, I mean, thanks for the Siphon. He needs a lot more Siphon, or he might need to head over to Slurpy Swamp to try and get all that slurp, because you don't have the shield, you don't have the heals at this point.
It's been a theme we've seen kind of consistent throughout. A lot of players disengaging from fights, obviously placement-heavy format. Recognizing that, not worth it to fight early, risk your life, put yourself in a bad spot. Meanwhile, thanks for Siphon on the rotation. Actually ends up getting taken out by Dylan is fishing. So unlucky and unfortunate. Dylan is fishing. Pier, the buddy of Derpy, is fishing, who won last game and was off to a good start in this game. We'll keep a close eye on them. Meanwhile, AE Lizard sitting, I think, in 20th place. Fluffy Panda, I think the fan favorite in the chat. I see y'all showing some love for Fluffy Panda and Fluffy Panda merch, if that's even a thing. AE Lizard now finds himself on the hunt, hunting this Fluffy Panda. How could you hunt a Fluffy Panda? That's just the most inhumane thing I've ever heard.
I don't know, man. You see it. You definitely don't want to go hug a panda. They're actually quite aggressive animals. But, you know, maybe it's like Kung Fu Panda, where you have all the skill locked inside, and he's just waiting to fully unlock it here in the final matches. Fluffy Panda going for the hard disengage, and most likely probably just rotating on through here. Fluffy Panda in a really good spot. As long as he continues to make end games, he should be one of our top few players.
It's true. Big should. See if that comes to fruition. We have a lot of competition in this lobby, and it's just been a plethora of players that have shown up and performed when it matters the most. Scrub Wrench, one of them. We'll see. Matt has peppers. No, you don't. You're a liar. How dare you make such a proclamation and lie to the entire lobby? That's what you get. No, Matt gets taken out. On board now with Pearl, most consistent player in my eyes, despite being in second place to Knack. Pearl's been placing top 10 almost every single game, playing very, very consistent route. As we take a look here at JG9.
And from what we've seen, these players are starting to play more aggressively. I don't think we're going to get the huge Storm Surge numbers that we saw in the first couple of matches. Well, I guess not in Game 1, but in Game 2 and 3. And Knack is one of those players who's looking to get in, using this harpoon to try and find a shot on this player. He's 1 HP, just needs to land one, does. And there it is. You had the infantry rifle, so very dangerous. Don't have a spray weapon. Jumping into a box like that could essentially be the end of you, as Merc is now picking up one here on JG9 and another third party. This lobby's flying today.
Yeah, absolutely. Might not even see the first Storm Surge tags here. Pending. Job right there from Merc Rever. As we see here, quite a few players still roaming in the storm. Need to be a bit careful, and look at this. Dead side, absolutely dead. Llama nearby as well. Fast side, well, a little bit scary on the rotation. It's going to be a tough rotation through for these players, and as a result, we'll see how many players do get taken off. We do see Storm Surge come to fruition.
Now we have Iroh moving on past here, looking to avoid some shots. He has the peppers and a nice solid loadout. Just needs to get on past here in the zone. Fallout, when you pull zones like this, you don't want to stay on this north side, because what typically happens is it pulls further and further south over those mountains, and anyone on this north side is really going to have to pay either in mats or shield to make those rotate. So the earlier you get on down, the better position you'll be.
That's right. It's a great point and a great call out here, as I think this will be the first game we've seen a lot of verticality come to fruition on the southeast side of the map over towards Lazy Lake and Caddy Corner. So it's important to kind of continue to work south. Don't get caught up in the north, especially because that's also, you want to stay towards dead side. It also helps from a dead side to kind of manage in perspective, verticality management. You got to be very vertically aware in these late games. It'll be an interesting late game for sure. As we now jump on board with Pearl, making their rotation through. He's actually going to hear a car nearby. It's going to be Dan the Man. Poor Dan the Man. Every time we've seen Dan on screen, he's getting taken out. See if it happens here, though, as he's in a 1v1 against Pearl.
And Pearl, we know, is going to be aggressive here. He's not one to just walk away, especially after he's gotten some shots in. Likely Pearl knows he has the better loadout than most players in this lobby. I mean, we just look at the weaponry that he's got going on. The shots are not connecting yet. Is Pearl going to let it up? Dan the Man continues to try and disengage here, but Pearl is not going to let that happen. And Dan looks to continue to try and rotate out. A big 7 tag. Oh, the double dink, though. And now we know Pearl's not giving this one up.
Yeah, again, poor Dan the Man. Continues to happen. It's Shinogami now looking to potentially get the actual steal of the Elim. Pearl's like, no, it's mine. He's mine. Now Pearl's trying to wrap that up. Getting unfortunately spammed from the back here. Means Dan the Man's not going to be able to defend for himself in the 1v1. Pearl is going to capitalize. Gets second Elim on the board. 539 points above damage threshold for Storm Surge. Pearl's in a great spot in this game with that loadout. We're going to jump on board and Snap on screen.
Dan's probably hoping we stop showing him on the broadcast.
I know, right?
But Snap disengage, and they're on the north side. This is a far rotate, and it looks like 3 players side by side. They're going to parallel rotate, maybe hold hands along the way. Likely not doing it with their actual hands, just with bullets. And going to be a tough time if they decide they want to fight each other on this entire rotate. But Snap going to go for a beam here on Yatrick. Does get some shots in. Not going to look to disengage. And one of those 3 players is Quinn, who looks like he's on a pepper, possibly a hop flopper, because he's moving a lot faster than the rest of these players.
Yeah. Snap goes to UBC, University of British Columbia, another Canadian up in Vancouver. See what Snap can do. Quinn nearby. Quinn's looking to get that pick, the steal on Yatrick. See if they will. Meanwhile, on board with Pearl against Shiragami. Ooh. Oh my goodness, Pearl is not missing right now. On a running rampage and showing no signs of slowing down.
Okay, Pearl, I see you. Nice little grabbing the wall, putting the cone in, and then bopping the shot. All right, that's textbook what you want to do in those situations. Well done, Pearl. He's starting to feel himself here, Fallout. A couple of games go your way. You're sitting pretty in the top 2, and now he's continuing to roll here. Already 3 elims and just got himself in zone, but this actually is a bad situation for him, as it looked like he took some damage on the way in.
Yeah, why playing on the aggressive side is going to cost you. You might have gotten a few elims, you might have been able to kind of roam and pick and get 2 or 3 picks. But now it's going to be a really tough rotation all the way over to the southeast side of the map. Might be looking a little scary. We saw a little bit of bluff on screen right there. Now we're back on with Pearl as Pearl continues their journey. It's been quite the journey for Pearl. It's gotten them some eliminations, but now finds a pretty tough rotation away with 10 to 15 players nearby. It's going to be an interesting one.
Luckily for him, he has those peppers. Now we're tuning in with George W. And it looks like that's Rubik's on the wall, and it is. Rubik's tries to jump in, likely looking for a shot. Both players were super weak, and that's George hitting those final shots. Now, Knack on his rotate in. We are seeing the zone pull further south. Knack just wants to rotate, and this player behind him just being a fly on the wall or a fly in your face, continuing to get those shots and bugging him, letting him know that he's right behind him.
Back with 3 elips. And our first place player, aggressive early, making it to late game. You're nothing. Says, yes, you are nothing. Imagine dying and taken out to you're nothing. That would just be the most tragic thing in the world. Like, you already got taken out and then you're depressed because this person is DMing you with their gamer tag.
Oh man, then he hits an emote on you and then you're just full shambles. Oh man, here's 2 players. We had Litzinio and Derpy, 2 of our top 10. Or actually, I think Derpy was in 13th. But 2 of our top 15, let's call it, right on top of one another. And Knack rocking that new, I guess somewhat new, infantry rifle that just returned back into the game.
If you see a gold infantry rifle in front of you, you're picking that up. Especially if you have a makeshift rifle or a primal rifle in your inventory. On board now with Dave. Purple AR to their name, but 4 HP total for Dave as he's not looking great. Almost dies to fall damage right there. Somehow, some way still alive, and actually popping a medi. All right, Dave, being alive for now.
Oh man, chat and their Bluff Rabbit fandom is just making me crack up right now. Gotta love supporting your friends that are playing these events, and now we're seeing Quinn gets plenty of support from his own chat in this, as well as we see him in a great position on the hill. We'll have to see where this 4th zone pulls, because this is really going to determine a lot.
Chat goes absolutely insane. the legend, Bluff Rabbit, is right now watching Soy Duck on screen here. Only 30 shots left in the assault rifle for Soy Duck. Be a little bit careful. 1 elimination should be good from a Storm Surge perspective, if it comes down to it. Ice Plates taken out Nana Low. And Ice Plates coming from Arizona State University. We'll see what Soy Duck will do here. But again, this is why it's so important. Rotated early, got a nice little high ground, and tunneled their way into the next upcoming zone. Soy Duck looking so far.
And now we take a look at Litzinio. quietly one of the best players in this lobby. We haven't talked nor seen him a ton, but 255 points. I believe he was in 3rd place going into this match, so he's sitting pretty right now and looking like he's going to be able to scoop up some more placement points. They start at 70, so already grabbed some this match, but he wants much more than just 70th place. He wants to grab a top 10 here and push himself up to compete for one of those top spots. And now we get to see Quinn wall to wall with a little NPC action right in between.
Nothing like an NPC just enjoying the action. Okay. Using for things like that. Extra Medi, not sure how much it's going to help. Just 9 players remaining in this one. Quinn, the early, decent rotation, but needs to try and do some work with this individual nearby. Otherwise, Storm Surge will certainly affect Quinn. I'll quiet rotate over. We'll be in circle, trying to hopefully find one along the way.
And that NPC right there, you can actually purchase the ability to see the next zone. So if Quinn had enough gold, he could actually have foresight to know where this next 5th zone is going to pull. Don't know if it actually happened. We saw he at least got a med kit from him. But if 5th zone pulls right on top of Quinn, I would assume that he knew that was exactly why. Now,
Respect.
you know.
On board with you know. 18 HP total their name. Med kit out. Should give them a chance to at least work their way back into this one. Target eliminated, gets taken out by Sully on screen. And we got a little bit of a stacker here. 50-plus players. Storm Surge will likely come into effect momentarily. And it's going to be an interesting one. Interesting late game. A lot of verticality as well as you take a look here. Quinn at the top of the mountain. We'll see where the Storm ends up pulling. Half in, half out. And it'll be another crazy late game here in game number 4.
And it does actually pull right over to where Quinn was. So I'm guessing that he was able to purchase that and figured out where zone was. And that's why he based up where he did. Now we get to see Styrefire right on the wall of Litzinio. Styrefire's taking that Storm Surge damage. Litzinio takes a big 100 shot, not able to connect for full damage, and Styrefire comes out the victor. That's a huge swing. Our top 3, our 3rd place player is now down.
Yeah, by the hands of another player that's in the top 20 overall. I think even better than that, top 15, maybe even top 10. Nice shot from Styrefire. Quinn takes out one at the top left of your screen. Lizard from Canada takes out Gary with an exclamation point because he wanted to make sure you knew with exclamation that his name was Gary. Meanwhile, Knack, first place player with 303 points. That's just rising as players get taken out one by one. Knack is just enjoying this extra placement points. Gonna make it to late game. This is looking scary. If Knack gets another top 10 finish here, he will skyrocket in the leaderboards and wonder if anyone's gonna be even close. Quinn was in 4th place, but at least 40 points behind, maybe even 50 points behind.
It's really it could become a 2-man race between Pearl and Knack right now, as we see Pearl pops up in the feed, taking down Beta there.
Yeah.
This is getting interesting. We're going in that more than halfway point, and these two are going back and forth, trying to take over, but oh, look at Soy Duck. He is up there on the high ground. He built himself a porta-fort up there, and look, Fluger, Quinn, Dash, Iroh, all nearby. If this zone pulls back up the mountain, Soyduck is ultimate position, ultimate high ground right there.
I wonder if Quinn did have enough to buy next zone reveal, because Quinn seems pretty confident. Here we go. Yeah, the zone will be pulling up north. It'll be interesting. Knack using that. Gets a gold AR, of course, Popper in inventory as well, and you said it, the back and forth between Pearl and Knack, almost like 2 heavyweights trading haymaker after haymaker here with our 1st and 2nd place finishers. Meanwhile, Derpy is fishing. Big game last game, wins it. Gets the pick as well, so Derpy is alive. Gets another consistent game here. They want to break into the top 10. Great rotate coming from Knack with the last pepper. And we also have Sizz Lucky alive. Oklahoma State University pro player in FNCS. You've heard of him. Certainly has performed throughout his entire career. See what Sizz Lucky can do.
Sizz Lucky's down bad on materials. He hits a shot, but at the same time gets smacked. That's what happens. Sometimes you get a little greedy, you go for the shots, and you get shot right back. Sizz, though, healthy enough at this point to make the rotate through, and this lobby is dwindling quick. Sizz looking to find the player behind him, but no, down he goes, and we're back with Knack.
My condolences, chat. Bluff Rabbit has been eliminated from this lobby. I'm sorry, I know we all stand with Bluff Rabbit. Sorry for your loss. L10 to services. Future. Meanwhile, we're jumping on board with Extra Quinn. 2 eliminations to Extra Quinn's name. Rich Homie Quinn, what you got? We're not going to find out because we're going to jump on board with Knack instead. Knack actually takes out Soyduck, who had ultimate high ground, had that kind of Porta-Fort set up earlier. Meanwhile, Knack is just running through this lobby. Derpy is finishing, actually takes out one as well. Fluffy Panda gets taken out by Veximity. And Knack looking to repeat here with more and more consistency. I don't know if I've seen Pearl alive, so it's the Knack show right now all day.
And we do get this overview. We see both Quinn and Pearl still alive. Derpy also on the high ground. So Derpy trying his best to swing things in his direction, but Veximity says no. And Derpy actually has that dub shotgun that I was looking for. That's why he's up here on the high ground, and he takes down Veximity. Wow. Pearl takes down Quinn, so this is now all going to be Knack and Pearl continuing to build their lead here, while Derpy is looking to get back into it.
Right, Derpy, can he go back-to-back 2 games in a row? Would certainly do wonders for him in the standings. Currently sitting on high ground right above Kikachu. As knock, knock. I'm here. And shot from Derpy. Does he have the mats to sustain this high ground? That was a question. I don't know if he does because he's just trailing and recycling builds from Kikachu and actually going to stop in every single way possible. 3 players remain. We got Derpy, we got Kikachu, and we got a player who's actually just going for a flopper heal strat in the storm. It's Sidla nearby as well. He wants that to the fight. All 3 players playing for high ground. Derpy gets denied, shut down by Kikachu. And here we go, 1 versus 1. Kikachu versus Sidla. Kikachu connects for 1, goes for the second. Flopper still alive and well for Sidla, has the inventory of a lifetime, but is it enough? 2 floppers for Kikachu will certainly win off the heal off. You gotta think this is Kikachu's game. Just gonna outlast Wait, and Sidla says, yeah, good night. I'll let you have this one. 7 elims and a first place finish for Kikachu with rhymes with Pikachu, which is awesome. Great finish right there for Kikachu in the first place.
Hey, Kikachu takes it home. The Sidla was trying to play the flopper. He's like, hey, I might be able to play heal. Kikachu had more in his back pocket, able to take home the victory royale, but Derpy, Pearl, Knack, all doing their best to stay alive there, and that should shake up our leaderboard just a little bit more. Top 2 gonna remain the same, but let's check out some replays, see what we got.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the replays here, and I think you're right. What it's gonna do is gonna keep this lobby pretty top heavy, right? Pearl, Knack, Quinn, all alive there. They'll just continue to extend their lead, and it might just become kind of a 3 or 4 horse race in this. We'll see how that all shakes out, because right now it's all speculation. But taking a look at the replays here, Pearl, a lot of aggression early, got a couple of elims early. Got George W getting a pick early as well. And out, then it was Starfire, who's actually going to take out Luciano, who is another player that's been consistently placing in the top 3. Luciano is going to certainly fall in the standings as a result of that one.
And now we're tuning back in, seeing what happened here with Knack. He was able to get this elim, but it went downhill afterwards. Getting to see this awesome play here with the dub shotgun. I was waiting for it. Fall out. I was waiting. And finally it shows up.
That was awesome. I'd love to see it from Derpy. Leave it to Derpy. Now, anyone named Derpy is, of course, going to also always, will never disappoint with following through on asks and demands. But right there, we do see a win come through from Kikachu. We'll see what that does for Kikachu in the standings. I haven't seen Kikachu really fare incredibly well so far in the grand scheme of things. Derpy will certainly be in the top 10. Top 4 will be pretty top heavy, but we'll see how that all shakes out, because we're going to jump to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll have standings in game number 5 for after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the grand finals of the PlayVS Spring 21 College Championship featuring Fortnite, where we have NA West 4 games down, 2 games to go, and this is where things get interesting, isn't it, Gun? Games 5 and games number 6.
Yeah, we get to see who becomes the best of the West. Is Bluff Rabbit going to pull something out of a hat here in these final 2 games? Or does Pearl and Knack take this one home and just battle it out for the top spot? Litzinio, Quinn, you got some catching up to do, guys, but it's possible here, Fallout.
Yeah, I think Bluff Rabbit's the heavy favorite to win this event. You know, currently in 69th place. We'll see if anyone else can keep up with Bluff Rabbit, because honestly, at this point, it's gonna be tough to do. But nonetheless, you know, there's a couple other players, maybe Knack, maybe Pearl, that have been playing maybe pretty well. Let's take a look at the standings here. Take a look at the difference between first and second and everyone else in the lobby. Knack on top with 379, playing out of his mind, with Pearl right behind, so consistent. Average placement for Pearl 7.75, but it's been the eliminations that have done it for Knack. A lot of aggressive play. Quinn right behind, but pretty big deficit there. It's a 70-point difference, almost a 100-point difference to Knack in first. We'll see if Quinn has what it takes to bounce back and to make it to the top 1.
And you see Derpy there, able to make an even bigger push up the leaderboard. You love to see it, taking some strong plays and then starting to combine them. We have Fluffy Panda down there in 8th, George W in 9th, and Fluger goes from his 20th spot up to 10th. I'll be interested to see if his boy who was holding down the 10th spot is down there at 20th and they just switched it up.
A little swap-peruski. Let's take a look. ZD Boomer is in 20th right now. Water Blanket, who was originally in the top 3, is dwindled down all the way to 18th. Same with Kickbutt Back, who is in 2nd. Same with Sully, who was in 4th after game 1. But that's, of course, only after 1 game. Tough to stay consistent against the lobby like this. Kikachu, though, bursting up into the 11th place spot with the first place finish last game. Kudos to Kikachu, and that rounds up our top 20. So things are going to get interesting here. We both predicted Quinn to win it. I'm going to give you a chance here, Gun. Are you going to change your prediction, or are you going to stick with it? You still think Quinn's got it?
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like I have to stick with it. Not because I truly think that he's going to overcome Knack, because Knack is on one right now. He's feeling himself. But, you know, you can't switch things up midway. That's not how it works.
Yeah, but if I give you permission, you're allowed to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then Knack wins. I got you. Thank you.
You're like, the logical thing says Knack wins. All right. So you think Knack's going to hold on. You think Knack over Pearl?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. From what I've seen, Knack and Pearl are both been super aggressive as far as their mid game, and that's consistently putting them in better positions come the end of the game. Eventually, one of them's going to fall, though. Who's it going to be? I don't know. I'll take the guy in first place, which is Knack.
Safe bet. It's interesting. In our NA East Finals, Game 6, we had Posick and Mars both take Daddy P, who was in first place for a long time, with a huge Game 6 finish. I'm sticking with my boy Quinn, not only because I have to, but more importantly, I think Quinn's going to pop off here. He's been here before in these tough situations. Yes, he's quite significantly behind, but the fact that he has 2 games to work with here, I think he can claw his way back. Obviously hard to do. He's played well. It's just Knack and Pearl are playing so good. It's hard to play and kind of match their level. I got to say, I've been really impressed with Pearl, really impressed with Knack and what we've seen so far as we get ready for our game number 5 here in a moment.
Yeah, I think Quinn just felt early one game, and Knack and Pearl have consistently made it every single match. So it's hard to beat. Again, these guys, there's no room to catch up when they're not giving you any space to breathe and get back up there. Someone's going to have to take them down, and is it going to be one another? Are we going to see a battle of Knack and Pearl in the mid game? We talked about how aggressive they like to play. Do they wind up running into one another and deciding who's going to be on the top of the leaderboard?
Insane. Wouldn't surprise it, though. Wouldn't surprise me, and wouldn't doubt it, though, going into these games 5 and 6, and with how crazy NA East was, with Posick and Mars taking home first and second, respectively, after being behind going into game number 6. I think anything's possible here in NA West. Either way, I am excited. We're going to jump on board with Pearl and Kikachu both dropping in no-named POIs, and are already down to 94 players in this lobby, so players either not making it in or, I don't know, deciding to do other things. Who knows? On board now with Pearl, kicking things off with the second place player in this one, as Pearl has been playing so well.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've gotten to see Pearl early game, so This is one of the big reasons he's so successful, is he's able to get that purple pump shotgun from the NPC every single time. Nice POI and nice choice of drop spot for him.
Or you can create consistency in Fortnite. The better you will do if you can consistently get a purple pump. Not have to worry about trying to upgrade or craft or find it. You're going to be in a good spot. The Styrofoam is going to get taken out. We're catching all the action here. Shout out to our observers. Wonderful team here. The PlayVS broadcast. I got to say, this is my first time doing a PlayVS event. I'm absolutely loving every second of it. And again, someone who went to college, got my degree, and also works in esports, full time. It's been awesome to see, the support of the collegiate esports scene, the collegiate Fortnite scene, players that are getting their degrees and pursuing college, college path while also competing and playing competitive Fortnite, which is something that I did when I was in college. Obviously not Fortnite because I'm old. I went to college. We played other games, not Fortnite necessarily, but nonetheless, great to see PlayVS supporting the collegiate scene.
Oh yeah, gotta agree with you there, Fallout, and props to the players as well. It can't be easy to compete both at a collegiate level, and then I'm sure these guys take time to compete in both Cash Cups, FNCS, and other events, as well as somehow manage to do school with that. Might be a little easier with it being online, but nonetheless, not an easy feat. As we get to go over into Retail Row, and here's Taka on a little engagement, and this might be the classic heel toe express out of here that we've seen all day.
Oh my goodness, Zoomer. A sliver of a head right there, connects, hits him with the emote right after, and that's big against Smacked. Nice pick right there from ZD Boomer as we're on board now with the big Loose. What's up, Loose? Going up against a TikToker, aka Taco. What you got, Loose?
Loose trying to hold this right hand peak. This is where ping and that luck of the 50-50 wall grabs, floor grabs, whatever you want to call them, comes into play. We see this right on the south side of this map over by the disco. So maybe we'll see another dance here, but Loose has that nice shotty, and we're back with Taka. He might have been doing the heel toe express, but now player's right on his wall. He's got nowhere to go but right in the face of this player.
Yep, and just hoping right now as this player is controlling that, is controlling the cone. It's ice plates. I've been impressed with ice plates from what we've seen. Unfortunately, not really doing a whole lot in the standings, I don't think. But 20-year-old from Arizona State University, former BMX racer, professional BMX racer, traveled around the world, I believe even Australia, New Zealand, in BMX. It's been fun to watch him also play very, very well in this tournament, at least when we've seen him on screen. Meanwhile, Jay Ripsey going to take out Giraffe. That's a tall order right there for Jay Ripsey. Get it? Yep.
I do get it. Thank you for that one.
Thanks.
Sure.
I'm trying to work on my dad jokes.
Hey, they come with age. The older you get, the easier they come.
Think so? They'll just come to me naturally because I'm really bad at that. Maybe that means I'm cool. I don't know, but I'm working on them.
You're too young, Fallout. That's the problem.
I gotta pop out some kids. Well, not that I'm gonna pop out kids, but I gotta find someone to pop out some kids, and then next thing you know, the dad jokes will just start flowing. Okay, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm trying to get on the level of my man Arctic. I don't know if you guys know Arctic at Epic Games. Used to run the esports program. Now is the community manager for the Epic Games store. He is very, very solid in the dad jokes category. I'm always.
It's a tough battle to fight when you don't have someone to embarrass. I feel like that adds points to the dad jokes.
That's true.
When you have a target to easily help you along. Hey, maybe one day. Or do you have a kid already?
I don't. No children. I mean, that's why I can't do dad jokes. No children on my end. So we're now reminiscing here, chilling, hanging out. It is obviously early game. Watching Quinn over in Steamy Stacks. We'll have to make a pretty far rotation. Actually, didn't see where Storm Circle is going to go. Busy talking about dad jokes here, but we'll see where it ends up going. Did you catch it by any chance where the circle is?
We're going west this time. We're going over towards Holly, Pleasant area. A little further south. I think Pleasant will probably be the north side of this zone. And looks like Lucy and whoever he was fighting here just... This is a no-win situation. You both have just wasted all your ammo, all your time, and now zone's coming. Oh, okay. This is further north than I thought. We get to see Stealthy Stronghold is going to be more of the north side of the zone.
Right. Interesting stuff. Has the king on screen. Gold AR, purple compact SMG. Pretty decent loadout, but not necessarily the best or the most amount of ammo. On board is Sizz Lucky now, one of our kind of premier FNCS pros competing in this competition. Oklahoma State University Cowboy. And there's footsteps all around. At this point, on his back foot. A little interesting. See how he plays this 1v1 in the edit and box fight.
Fun fact, Sizz typically plays on the Eastern servers, but I guess decided to choose to play West here for these tournaments.
Maybe I think it's actually geography. Based on
it has to do with the school.
Geographic split. Yeah, so Texas over was considered West region. You played in the West side. So that's what's tough about these players playing all the way from Texas. They obviously can play on a high ping, but technically that's the West region as it kind of got distributed here by geography.
Makes sense. Thank you for that follow-up. So yeah, he typically plays East, but playing West here based on where you go to school. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts.
Yeah. Speaking of school, I got to look up Bluff Rabbit. University of South Dakota. This man, Bluff Rabbit, is doing it as part of the South Dakota Coyotes, representing the University of South Dakota. I saw a request to mention Bluff Rabbit in chat. Of course, we will. How can you not mention the legend Bluff Rabbit themselves playing in game number 6 after this? Rest in peace to what happened this game. Bluff Rabbit, wishing you the best as we will watch you embark on your journey here in game number 6. On board Sizz Lucky now.
Now, Sizz Lucky will be looking to get some of those mechanical parts here. Wants to be able to craft that shotgun into the weapon he's looking for. The makeshifts, honestly, a little better than I first thought of them. That fire rate is pretty impressive, and I think people underestimate how quickly you can shoot them back to back. It's kind of like attack fire rate, but does a little more damage. Just the only downside has got to be that 3 bullets in the clip. We'll see how players continue to prioritize them or don't prioritize them as the game goes on in this season. Now, especially with the addition of the tactical shotguns. Big plays here by Epic Games changing this up. And we'll have to see how the players adapt. That's one thing you can always count on. Change is a constant, and you're either going along with it and thriving, or you're falling behind.
Okay. Speaking of falling behind, might be both of these players falling behind with this storm fight. I always call it kind of the lose-lose scenario. We'll see if it works out for them. Pearl taking out the fishing duo Dylan. Nice shot from Pearl, continuing with aggression. That's been kind of the theme. Pearl's, oh my goodness. Pearl's been placing well consistently and playing aggressive and getting elims. Meanwhile, Kikachu, our winner from last game, finds himself in kind of an impossible situation and not a less than ideal situation here fighting in the storm.
He's going up against King here. No white heals for Kikachu, so he's either got to get the elim or get out. He says, hey, I'm going to get this elim right now. If you ask for it, that's a nice little boost of the loot for him. But I don't think King had any white heals either that'll help him support that storm play. Now we see Water Blanket, who was one of the best players, if not the best player during heats, in a decent spot to make a play in these last 2 games, but really needs to finish well in game 5 and 6 here, Fallout.
That's right. It's the time to perform. Said it about Pozic in our first tournament. I'll say it again. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments. And, of course, game number 6, game number 5, this is your time to do it. Pearl's been playing so well, so consistent. Can they maintain that, keep that consistency here in game 5 and 6 when you're maybe a little bit more nervous? You know players like Quinn are coming after you. It's obviously a pretty decent zone. Not too bad for Quinn coming from Steamy Stacks. We'll keep a close eye on him. Keep close tabs. QA Rubik's right now with 144 points on screen. Not sure where Rubik's is in the overall standings necessarily, but we'll keep you guys updated on that. If I'm looking here, Rubik's is in 33rd place overall. Yeah, good call.
So we check in another player with 144 points is Dash GG. So we're checking in, tuning in with everyone here in these games. And Rubik's has a massive base here. Going with an interesting edit there. Not sure he meant to do that edit. He had so much space and now hits the big shots. Not going to decide to push that. Rubik's gives that one up. Going to go back and hang out in his huge base. One little shot there. Just to make sure the guy knows, hey, I'm still here. Don't worry.
Little warning shot, you know, you got to fire it off. Put that person in their place real quick.
Little
Rubik's. Exactly. Rubik's representing the University of North Texas, qualified for March Madness this year, I believe for the first time in school history. So Rubik's playing a little bit high ping, coming from Texas as well, alongside Sis Lucky playing from Oklahoma State University, a couple other players from Texas as well. Still, you know, they've been faring fairly well. It's been impressive to watch, to see what they can do. On board of T-Mains right now. T-Mains in a 1-versus-1 high ground, but no shield to their name and no opportunity to get additional shield, as no shields in inventory. It's looking a little slow right now for T-Mains. Trying to get a cross-map pick here.
We see he's below Storm Surge, so that's going to play in a factor right now, as Haz is right below him. Kickback, honestly bullying T-Mains here as he tries to make this rotate. The shots were coming through. Looks like Kickback has decided to let this go, and T-Mains and Haz, you guys decide this on your own.
Work this out like adults, all right? T-Mains and Haz says, fine, I will. He takes out T-Mains in the 1v. Nice job. Obviously had the significant advantage. T-Mains a little bit desperate, had to play for Storm Surge right there. Not the best situation. Meanwhile, Knack, 41 below Storm Surge. Scratch that, 47 below Storm Surge. We'll see how much that comes into fruition here. 6 players need to get taken out, and Knack's going to have to do something. Can this be the game where Knack finally shows some weakness?
And lucky for him, he has a player nearby, but that's no slouch of a player. That's Chankins, and we know he's one of the better players in this lobby, at least as far as... Oh, no! Knack goes down! The door is now open.
Told you. Rachel. No.
Hey,
when you know, you know. Yeah, you can never doubt that, man. I know you wouldn't. That was your pick as well. I pay homage to our picks. We're now watching Pearl, last member of the top 2 crew. Knack gets taken out in first place, opens the door wide open like he said, and here we go. Storm Surge continues to roll here. It impacted Knack. It's going to continue to impact a few more players. Guzzybrug gets taken out by it. On board now with Pearl, 205 above. Pearl's chilling.
He is definitely already with that gold shotgun. Got the peppers once again, so we know the loadout always looking so nice with the peppers. That is going to be one of the keys for his consistency, the ability to rotate faster than everyone. People underestimate there's no movement, quote unquote, in this season, but peppers provide you movement, and the players who are able to optimize their pepper rotates as well as grab them consistently in the games are going to be some of the top players, and we see Pearl doing just that. He's proving to us, okay, you know, I'm getting peppers every game. Why? That's exactly why I'm at the top of the leaderboard. I'm a skittle player, I'm getting elims, and I have more speed than anyone else in the lobby.
Good situation right now for Pearl. Shot to Ames, Iowa, by the way. Got Iowa State University in the house. Presenting, you'd like to see it. Part of the Bluff crew. On board now with Pearl. Box fighting, looking to push Girl in red. Again, if Girl's wearing anything else but red, I'd be very disappointed. We'll see if Pearl decides to cycle this and play with aggression. Looks like it's not the case. Pearl has been playing very aggressive throughout. We got the strip part of the Arizona State University crew, 7 players deep today in this tournament. On board with Bubs. Haven't watched a whole lot of Bubs on screen. See what Bubs can do.
Yeah, Bubs. Definitely a lot of work and a lot of ground to make up as we see Sidla here. Looking good, trying to get into this player's box. He does jump in. I'm not sure he's able to pick up that elimination. I think somebody else was able to steal it. And Sidla is just going to wind up having to heal that up. He should be able to grab that loot as Haz is making a late rotate in the zone here. And the health is not looking the best. He cannot afford to get tagged even more than once.
Oh, almost gets the siphon, though. That would have been huge. He could actually get it right now if he just beams. Snap. Go for it, mate. Oh, my goodness. Almost connects for the one shot that was needed right there. Has a med kit back up. It says, you know what? I want to do this old-fashioned way. Good old siphon. Shave Fishy, winner of game number 2. Currently top 10, I think, in the leaderboards. Alive. Sis Lucky still alive. I made my bold prediction earlier in chat saying Sis Lucky's going to get top 10 coming all the way from Oklahoma State. I still stand by that.
I'm with you. I definitely think Sis felt it out the first couple of games, warmed up a little bit, and now he's ready to play in these last 2 matches here. on the edge of Fort Zone, already looking for tags. And if anyone knows the game better than Sizlucky in this lobby, I would be quite surprised. I don't know that there's going to be many players, not just in this lobby, but in the region in general, that have put in more time than Sizlucky.
X. Hands down one of the most experienced players in this lobby. Nice turnaround right there from Sidla. What's up? 424 AR, 154 ammo in the pump shotgun. Straight chilling right now is Sidla. Find himself in a really, really good spot in this game. Meanwhile, jumping back on board with Pearl has just been an absolute freak of nature entire tournament. Slowly gets the pick on Haz the King on screen, so Haz finally puts an end to his run.
We see Pearl able to scoop some of the loot from that elimination. Don't think he was able to get it. Actually, I can confirm he only still has one elim, so that wasn't his, but the loot is what matters as we see Quinn and Chankins picking up some eliminations. So two of the more experienced players in this lobby still alive. Fluffy Panda getting an elimination on his own, and Quinn right here on edge, looking to be in a good spot, and look what's in his inventory. Fallout, he's got the dub.
Oh yeah, you were looking out for that. And ask and you shall receive, say these players. 2 games in a row here, we get to see it.
We'll have to see how he uses this. A lot of players just get the dub shotgun and haven't really used it before, aka myself. A lot of players, I mean myself, I don't know what to do. But, you know, when you're experienced with that, the dub shotgun's a huge bonus, as Litzinio is up here on the high ground, hoping Fit Zone pulls his way so he can play one of the high ground positions, and this is the gamble that we play. Litzinio has the good RNG on his side and should be able to be in a great spot. He's basically max mats. I mean, 148 builds, he's missing 2. This is a great position for someone who fell early last game.
Massive, especially with Knack out, opens up things a bit. Just has to try and keep an eye out for Pearl, Quinn, and the like, but Litzinio's been playing very, very well. Our competition, I've been impressed. Color me impressed from Litzinio. As Litzinio goes to Everett Community, exactly. Everett Community College, representing Everett. On board now with Fluffy Panda. Oh, gonna take some damage here, down to 66 effective HP. Nice shot right there is gonna help neutralize the fight. And it comes through, but it's gonna be Heko who comes out with the elimination over Fluffy. Well done from HekoBot.
Able to take down Fluffy Panda, I believe. Fluffy was top 10 there. Yeah, he was sitting in 8th place. So another top 10 player. This could be the game where we see a big switch up, as a lot of our top 10 have gone down a little bit earlier than usual in this game. We do see Kikachu still alive, and Hecto has to make that bot big rotate here and is paying for it. Chankins on the rotate in, Sizlucky still alive, Jay Ripsy, you know, Gary, Dave, Boomer, Teo, lots of players along this zone punishing anyone trying to make these late rotates.
Right. Being a late rotate, Sidla gonna get punished as well, gonna get focused. You know, you are the chosen one right now. Luckily, we'll be able to reset here. At least for now, as I say that. Sorry, bud. Caster's Curse gets taken out. I'd like some Daddy J Wiz coming from the University of Washington. Washington State? Yeah, University of Washington, Seattle. UW. Shout out to J Wiz.
And being the chosen one in that case is not the situation you want to be in.
Yeah, the unlucky chosen one.
It's not always good to be the chosen one, and now we tune in with Sizlucky. A lot of people in chat hoping for that top 10 based on their channel points here for Sizlucky, so we got some Sizlucky fans, at least for this game, as we see Quinn on the front side of zone here, might be trying to play height early, especially with the dub. I would expect him to take an aggressive position, looking for some players on the rotation.
This is a great spot of mats as well. I think 444 effective mats, so good play absolutely for high ground. About 130 total mats to Quinn's name, and of course is on the close side for the rotation and first moving. Here we go, 31 players left. Jay Wiz, UW, gonna get dropped here. Sizlucky playing from Oklahoma State University. Cowboys, currently not necessarily in the best position. Ice Blade is gonna get taken out from ASU. Here comes a rotation from Quinn, dropping right on top of another player. Not able to take high ground though from Litiano, who we know also has a great material situation. Nice job, good wherewithal from Quinn to turn and try and put some shots, put some pressure on the high ground warrior.
Yeah, just weakening them for later. He's doing the work early as we see Pearl is in a bad spot here. Only 30 HP, still needs to make this rotate. There's players on each side of him. He has the pepper to make this happen a little bit faster. Trying to put some shield on. He goes down to Sizz Lucky. So our top 2 players are down early. Sizz, Quinn, Litzinio can make some plays here. As we see, thanks for Siphon goes down as well. Kickback, another one of those players that can use these 2 going down early to possibly push themselves up the leaderboard.
After the madness, it's going to come down to this. 12 players remain. Litzinio currently with high ground and losing in the mats, category and quantity, but still in a pretty good situation to maintain his high ground through at least most of this late game. But of course, someone trying to take it from him actually will change that up. It's going to be Teo, who is actually contesting for high ground and forces Litzinio to use even more mats. Only 12 builds left to their name. Boomer alive. Sizz Lucky gets taken out. Jenkins takes out Boomer right after. Kickback, who is up there in standings, eliminated as well. All comes down to this. 6 players remain. We still got Quinn alive.
And the battles are happening here on this mid-ground layer. Bankai and Chipspit going head-to-head there on the low ground. I believe Chipspit's very weak, has no materials. Chankin's going to make a play here to the dead side in Storm. We see Quinn looking to continue to take down Litzino because he has held the high ground this entire time. Quinn wants that. He wants to make a play here. And Litzino's out of mats, so this could be the play here for Quinn. He does take the high ground, but can he take the elimination that's going to help him hold it? Because he needs this game to come back, and he does take him down to 4 players.
Quinn, you are an absolute freak. What we just saw right there, using the shotgun to take high ground, not done yet. Connects for 132 and not done. Quinn is going on a running rampage himself here in game number 5. We talked about big-time players making big-time plays in big-time moments, and Quinn does exactly that. What a game 5 he's had so far, but he's not done yet.
Has 1 player in his way, but that's a full HP Teo who wants the sauce here in the Storm. Quinn tries the trick shot with the dub, does get some damage onto Teo, but Quinn is so weak, it's only 1 shot, and Teo takes game 5.
Huge plays from Teo to close that one out, but ultimately that was the Quinn show, right? In 4th place, top 2 players gone out of this one. Quinn, perfect opportunity to take that first place spot. Might just do it, making things interesting here in this game number 5. And I'll tell you right now, that sets us up for a heck of a game number 6. It's going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait for that. But of course, take a look at the replays from game 5 before we jump to that.
Let's see what we got here for the replays. Fallout, some great plays that game, as we saw. Get to see Taka go down early there to our fellow Star Wars fan, and Jay Ripsy cleaning up the fights as Pikachu in Storm, clean shots there to grab the elimination, and we're just going all over the place. Teammates goes down, that's Haz picking that one up, and Knack goes down early. Storm Surge is an issue. Now it'll come down to this last game. Knack and Pearl have to do, they're gonna battle it out. Litzinio and Quinn put themselves in a position now to compete for the final spot in this game. Man, Fallout, we're in for a show. Sit back, grab some popcorn. It's time.
Yeah, you're spot on. Litzinio's in 13th place, I believe, going into that game. But no, I lied. He was in top 10, top 7. So we'll see where that puts Litzinio going into game 6. Is it a 4-horse race, a 3-horse race? We're not exactly sure. We'll, of course, get the standings and keep you guys updated as soon as we possibly can. Teo, of course, closes it out with the pick over Quinn, but really it was Quinn that impressed with the 2nd place finish and putting himself in a good position, good opportunity to take home first. It's going to be so incredibly interesting to see who comes out on top in this one. Game number 6 is going to be nuts. I cannot wait. We're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the standings. We'll break it all down for you as we gear up. We get ready for game number 6. Don't go anywhere. Pearl, Quinn, Knack, or Litsinho. Who will it be to take home the first place $4,000 prize in Scholastic Prizing here in the PlayVS West tournament as part of the Spring 21 Collegiate Fortnite Championships? Fall out here alongside Somebody's Gun as we both had the honor of casting what has been an amazing day of PlayVS collegiate action. The NA East tournament did not disappoint. So much entertaining gameplay, and it looks like, Taylor, this is going to happen the exact same way here in game number 6 for NA West.
Oh yeah, Fallout. We are in for a show here in this final match. It is so close. I can't wait to take a look at the leaderboard, but we're going to have a few big contenders fighting for that top spot, and the final punches are going to be thrown. Whoever is able to take it is going to walk away with that Scholastic prize. And look who it is in first place, none other than Pearl. But that lead is definitely doable now. What looked impossible now is it within grasp of, I'd say, at least Quinn and Knack, if not also Litsinho as well.
Yeah, Litsinho obviously nearby. You saw, in our NA East finals, it was going into the last game. Posick was quite behind. I think it was 60 points and was able to bounce back. So not too far off from where Litsinho is now. I think it certainly is possible. But you're right. The consistency of Pearl's been great. We've seen Derpy is Fishing playing on high ping, I believe, coming all the way from Central U.S. playing incredibly well as well. I've been very impressed by their gameplay. Lizard from British Columbia playing well in our top 10, and keep an eye out on Sizlucky in 6th place, breaking into the top 10 as well as you'd expect. Chenkins, long time Fortnite competitive player, World Cup qualifier in 11th place, showing up big as well alongside Kikachu, our winner of game number 4, and a few others here in the top 20.
Get to see Fluffy Panda still in the top 20 there, falling a little bit from his 8th spot. Fluger hanging around, making himself some noise here in these mid-lane games, and Teo, who's able to take a match, is now up in 16th. So lots of solid plays by these players to push themselves up the leaderboard. We saw Soli earlier on. Nice to see him make it back up into the top 20. We'll have to see. One game matters now, and the rest of it is all going to be where you finish out in the game. Do we see something crazy here, Fallout? You think someone is going to make a play that they wouldn't have made if it wasn't the last play of the game, or are we playing everything close to the vest here?
I think we're going to see something nuts game 6. I think it's going to be an awesome game. I'm looking forward to it. I think players are going to put on an absolute show for us. I'm still sticking with my Quinn prediction. You still rolling with Knack?
I kind of picked both now, and I don't know what I'm doing at this point. So let's go Pearl. Throw them both out. We'll go a third. I'll take Pearl now. That way, whoever wins, I can properly say that I've predicted it.
Yeah, you can be like, yeah, I picked all 3 of them. What are you talking about, Paul? I didn't switch my prediction. I just added on to my prediction. I just layered some additional predictions on top of my existing prediction. We'll see what comes out here into fruition. I stuck with my original Quinn prediction. He performed huge in Game 5, but tough to do back-to-back, right? We saw him do it in Game 1 and 2. Fell off a bit in Game 3. Since bounced back. He did it in Game 5. Can he go back-to-back with another big game here in Game number 6? That is the question, as we're jumping on board with Teo to kick things off. Teo in 16th place, broke into that top 20. As a result, we're also going to show Pearl some love as well.
And Pearl going over to his normal drop spot here. Switching it up with the skin, and Teo appears to be contested. There's a number of players going over to Misty Meadows, so he'll have to make plays. That could be why he struggled being contested early on off spawn. It's a tough time, as we do see Pearl taking some shots. If he hits one, this is a miracle shot. Not going to connect, and now we move on.
I would have shaved my eyebrows. Actually, I would have gone crazy. Been insane. And Pearl going for the miracle shots. You like to see it. To kick things off here, and now looks like he'll be able to loot up, post up, chill. Has this entire drop spot uncontested. And you wonder why Pearl's doing so well. You wonder why Pearl's so consistent. A great drop spot, great POI. What you see on screen is NPC. Pearl has been absolutely chilling early games with a very, very good situation over on the old Greasy Grove Burger Shop location. As you see on screen here, Pearl's pretty well positioned.
And sometimes it makes it hard. You know, if you're not contested off spawn, sometimes you'll struggle a little bit with those mid-game fights. But clearly not an issue for Pearl, as he's taken down multiple different players. And one of our top 5 players is now in an engagement early on at Steamy Stacks We know this is also where Quinn has been landing, and it looks like he is not here based on what I'm seeing. We see Litzinio fighting a player. There is Jenkins in the background, and I guess Quinn has decided not to go to Steamy today, possibly to avoid anyone trying to make a play on him. And now it's up to Litzinio to make this play on this last player. And yes, Omar, see ya!
He's too nasty with it. Litzinio is playing out of his mind. An absolute lit showing right there in performance from the Litzinio game zone. I've been so impressed by what he's been able to do so far. And I'd be interested to see. I'm not sure where Quinn dropped. Is he that purple, that light blue at the top of the screen? Might just be trying to keep an eye and catch Quinn if we can throughout. Meanwhile, there's a fight right now between Taco and Arrow. Taco and Arrow enter a fight. Sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, but no, this is Fortnite, baby.
You get to see everything. And hey, you know, the dad jokes, they're coming along, Fallout.
Thanks, man. I'm working on it here. Shit. They're coming along.
Oh no, the third party comes through here, though, as Taco made a nice play to shoot the gas can. Arrow's down, and now Taco's stuck in between two players, which is never a good situation. Always want to be that guy on the outside looking in, and he does try and get himself some space here and take a mini. Not going to happen yet, as Taco continues to build away, and it looks like Arrow is full disengaged, so now this is Taco's fight.
Saying Arrow disengages. Taco continues to be part of this fight, but finally does get taken out there by Kenton. Rocked up Kenton takes out Taco, and that'll just leave Taco to have to go work on maybe some more TikTok content, perhaps. Yes, Sauce. Taco is out of here in game number 6. On board. Thanks for the siphon.
Siphon out here over by Teo as well. You see Chippets taking this card, trying to get on out of here. He wants to play his last game out, but I don't know if Thanks for the Siphon wants to allow that to happen. He's going to take shots as he goes on past. But Chippets should be fine. I was going to say, he should be fine if he keeps on driving. Now he's going to decide to get out, and you got to watch out, Siphon. You're just sitting there waiting to get shot. You might be giving Siphon to somebody else.
Siphon. Up Misty. I've been wondering what the Misty situation's been like. Glad we finally got to check out Misty, see what the action was like over here. Mars, of course, dropped Misty east side and was able to get it uncontested and was able to take home a second place finish in NA East. Meanwhile, thanks to the Siphon, hasn't had as much of a blessing or fortune here necessarily. He's playing a little sneaky with it. Let's see if he can find one. And our winner from last game in Teo, Dylan, is fishing. Meanwhile, finding one. Great job from Dylan with a pick over Arrow.
That's Arrow. We saw go down. Tough day there for Arrow. Dylan just doing his best to hold down the Slurpy Swamps. Looks like there's a number of players on the outskirts. And Knack here in an engagement. Again, looking to disengage. And that's Haz, who we've seen in this area. As TD Vex also down bad here. 25 HP with players on his wall. What can he do here? Fallout.
Not much. Try to bandage up for some reason. Not going to work out very well for you, mate. 25 versus 200. If Vex pulls this off, I'm officially his #1 fan. Okay, start. Fandom. On your way to fandom here, Vex. He's really committed to these bandages here. Absolutely committed to these bandages. He wanted them.
He almost connects on that one. That would have been huge to be able to hit that. Does have the gas can if he wants to throw it. Yep, there we go. Thank you. Gonna chop out Soy Duck there. Unable to find him. And if I'm Vex, I'm probably going to be happy to just walk away alive.
Yeah, it's true. Take your wins here. You won't earn me as a #1 fan because you didn't get the pick. You limb. But nonetheless, take your wins here, Vex. Fact that you're alive right now is probably a benefit. I have a pretty far rotation to make all the way from the southeast of the map to the northwest of the map. And just for good measure, a little additional 5 HP here, but it looks like they're both still fighting.
Now we're checking out Sizz Lucky. Was able to get the chat a top 5 game last game. Or top 10, apologize. Sizz in a pretty good spot here. Has that open inventory slot, but I don't think he really cares. He wants to focus on this positioning over anything else, and BST is nearby. A player who did well early on, but has seemingly struggled since. So maybe this is the game there for BST, as we do see Vex go down there to Soy Duck. So that fight eventually was ended. Now going to check out another one here with Lizard.
Board of Lizard. One here. Has the scythe out, making that wonderful noise. Currently trying to play aggressive in this 1v1 and actually going to lose high ground to Coma. We'll just give that up. 79 players remain in this lobby. 11 players already taken out. Bye and good night for them. I can't do math. Make it 12 players, sorry. As Lizard now on the low ground here. With an AR in hand, tactical shotgun, decent loadout, in circle. No problem to take this fight if they want to. We gotta check out Pearl. What's Pearl doing? Pearl's just taking a little victory lap here. Pearl's like, look, I got this game in the bag. A little victory lap in the car. I'm chilling, not anyone near my sight. This is actually a great circle as well for Pearl. I think Pearl's sitting in a pretty good spot. On the flip side, not as great for Quinn, who had to rotate all the way from Simi.
Okay, Boomer picking up one onto J-Wiz there, and that's a nice elim. Boomer's definitely going to be competing for one of those top 20 spots, it seems like, based on his points here. The one bad piece for Pearl is if we do have Storm Surge. We literally saw there was no one on his mini-map. So he's going to really struggle to get damage if that becomes an issue. I mean, we're at 78 players. I would guess that it's not going to be an issue, but just in case, I mean, same thing looking like for Quinn here, who's also in a position to take this top spot, but literally no one on the minimap nearby.
Yeah, jeez. Interesting situation. Quinn also doesn't have the best loadout. Green infantry rifle, green pump shotgun. Not ideal for Quinn, but we saw Mars face all types of adversity in NA East in Game 6. They'll come out on top. Pearl finds the Storm Surge tags that they needed. Huge plays and opportunity for Pearl here, setting itself up for a Game 6 win. That victory lap might be a real thing. I'm impressed by Pearl so far. See if they can close it out, though.
Yeah, what a performance there. Grabbing that elim, that'll secure him any kind of Storm Surge damage that he needs, and now we get to see him just relax. Based on what he's done, though, I don't think he's just going to relax at this point. He's a player that's been quite aggressive in these mid-games, so I would expect him to go take some more shots as we continue through this zone. Second zone doesn't pull his way, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We're going towards Pleasant Park, where Knack is hanging out, looking for a place to post up.
And Knack, our third place player, and the previous pick of my compadre here, Somebody's Gun. Previous pick of Somebody's Gun was Quinn. Current pick is Pearl, which is a good one, though. Pearl seems to be in a really good spot in this game here. See what Knack can do. But now, jokes aside, obviously, it's tough to predict Fortnite. You got to really kind of make an out there statement and hope for the best. Obviously, in a game with 100 players in the lobby, difficult to predict. But nonetheless, we'll see if Knack can do it coming from third place. I know we got some Knack fans in the chat.
Yeah, we've seen definitely some posts in chat supporting, hyping up our boy Knack here, and he's playing much less aggressive than we've seen Pearl, taking shots on players that are just walking on in the open, but not getting wall-to-wall, not looking to take fights, at least not yet. He may do that here soon, but it's not happening yet. Knack in a great position to relax at this point, as long as he doesn't need Surge, because as much as I said it doesn't look like we're going to need it, it's starting now to look like that's going to be an issue.
At 49, don't think 5 players will get eliminated, so Storm Surge will come into effect. Quinn just barely above. Looking for a tag here on Lizard. Borderline has to take this fight potentially. 30 above right now. Just one tag will do the trick here. Even 40 damage would be enough, I think, to win. This is the 2 shots that he really would wanted. Really probably wishes he could have those back. In a box fight against Lizard, you got to think Quinn feels good about his chances.
Oh, 100%. We saw Lizard is down below Storm Surge, though. So this player is going to make some unpredictable all-in plays. He's just above, so able to get a little bit of damage onto Quinn, and maybe that'll be the end of this engagement. Both players not looking comfortable as far as Surge goes, and the only opportunities are going to be one another. So both Lizard and Quinn need to decide, is this the fight I really want? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, Quinn's still sniffing. Down 50 HP though. Not sure if it's the best fight for Quinn at this point. It would be so anticlimactic for Quinn to get taken out here by Lizard in a 1v1 this early. So even the story, I just can't say. You know, it's almost like when you're watching a movie, and you know the protagonist just won't get taken out, you know, needs to survive because they're the main character. I feel like that's the situation for Quinn right now. Quinn is the hero of this story. There's no way he can get eliminated right now against Lizard. We'll see if that's the case, though, because Quinn, of course, having to bounce back, having to fight back in game number 5, did so, and now needs to try and perform here back-to-back in game 6 to win this tournament. We'll see if he can do it.
Oh, boy, that's a bold proclamation there. Going for the all-in of he will not get taken out. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, and we see a tale of two top players. Pearl looking a lot more looted, as we see tons of ammo, the extra shields, the peppers, the mats, and Quinn is kind of just hanging on the opposite end. But refreshes come often for players who know how to get them, and if we know anything about Quinn, he is definitely one of those guys that knows how to get a refresh. Pearl, on the other hand, he doesn't necessarily need refreshes, he just goes and gets them anyway.
Pearl with a solid loadout as well. Like you talked about, you know, yeah, you don't really need the refresh because my situation is solid. He's just that good, you know. 420 points right now, 150 max builds for Pearl. A solid situation right now for Pearl. If you're a fan of the consistency Pearl has shown, you're feeling pretty good right now. Obviously going to have this Carter make his rotation through as well. Playing so well, so smart. You know, the fact that he played early game, very cautious, got the right loot, got the right loadout, found himself a car actually for these quick rotations, found the right storm stirs that he needed, and now puts himself in this position. But he does get tagged up quite a bit here. Luckily, he does have the shield to recover.
And this is probably going to force him to play a position that he does not want to. This is only the bottom edge of this third zone. He was looking like he wanted to go much further, deeper into this zone. Now he's going to get stuck on the southern side and could be his downfall. As we see Teo gets a nice harpoon. He's the one fishing the player here on Dylan. Now going for this elimination as Teo wants more of it, or at least it appeared to for a second, and just going to walk on out of this like nothing ever happened.
Teo, our winner from game 5. Yeah, I'm good. Don't want that one. And instead, try to opt for a wide right, hug the ring, hug the circle here, the storm, and a dead side push if he can, at least as dead side as he can get, given the situation. 64 players left in this lobby. Game 6 is starting to wind down, and we still have all of our big names. We still have Knack, we still have Pearl, we still have Luciano, I believe, and we, of course, still have Quinn.
Now we get to see where Teo decides to post up. We check in with Sizz Lucky, see what's going on over here. He's on the western side, seeing what is going on towards the edge of the storm. We got some cars over there. He is in eyesight of our top player, Pearl, at the moment, and Litzinio up here on high ground. And this is one of the best hills in the game. This one and the one right outside of I believe it's Boney Burbs at the moment, are two of the most powerful positions in the game.
Dirty Docks. I like the one outside Dirty Docks. But true. Yeah, no, that's a good point. A very, very good position right now is Litzinio. And he's also going to get Circle. That is huge for Litzinio. Obviously way behind in the standing, so needs a few elims here if he wants a chance. And needs to basically hope, pray, that the top 2, top 3 in front of him, Knack, Quinn, Pearl, get taken out momentarily, and so far I don't think any of them have.
Now all of our protagonists in the story are still alive, and we'll have to see which one goes down earlier. Quinn here hasn't picked up that refresh yet. Actually doesn't even appear to have moved from the same position we saw him in earlier when he was wall-to-wall with Lizard.
No.
And Pearl appears to be getting some pressure here, looking to make the wrong rotation as he's trying to get here into zone. Gonna use the pepper, move on past as quickly as possible. There's a player right in front of him. Big shots come through. And, oh, thank you. That's an easy elimination. That's about as easy as it gets for Pearl.
Yeah. Pearl says thank you next. Second time we've seen him Do it with the pepper in hand. Quick elim and right into the next business. Doesn't even go for the refresh. Nice job for obviously had a lot of pressure behind him, but nice shot from Pearl from what we're seeing. Meanwhile, the best situation for Quinn, right? Loadout's not great. As only the infantry rifle. Latsinho is getting picks. Pearl's getting picks. It's looking very, very bleak right now if you are a Quinn fan, but certainly we've seen him do crazier. I'm excited to see what Quinn can do in this late game. Meanwhile, Latsinho, Knack, Pearl, all trying to make a name for themselves.
Down goes Gary. That's actually Jenkins picking him up. A few more players trying to make that same rotate that Gary just paid for while he was doing it. And they're actually fighting. Looks like Logan Merritt's going to go down as well, fighting on the rotation. And there's a 24-year-old on 60 right there who, I guess he's doing all right. He's on 60 frames. I'm assuming that's what the 60 is. That's typically what players refer to.
Yeah. Or 60 years old, 24 going on 60. Maybe he's just an old soul. No. Storm Surge coming into effect. I wonder if Quinn's actually dealing with Storm Surge because we know he was close earlier. But quick overhead view will show you Sizz Lucky still alive. Quinn is no longer needing to worry about Storm Surge. Chilling. 50 players left in the lobby. It all comes down to this late game. We're going to get our first half in, half out. And here we go. Storm 5. Late game. Pretty stacked here in this one. And look at the cluster on the south side of the zone here. It's kind of insane. But Quinn finds himself a pretty good spot. Upgraded to a blue AR, so decent situation for Quinn here. Might try and mess around and grab this supply crate. He's feeling crazy. As, of course, he could use a little bit of a refresh overall. More importantly, he could just use some ammo.
Definitely, and hopefully he gets that big shield. Continue this story just a little bit longer. Looks like Zone's pulling right towards the power position that Latsinho was on. And teammates might be looking to contest this drop here. Quinn's going to go ahead and grab it. Not sure. Oh, that's not what you want to see out of a drop.
Gee.
Only getting the med kit. Oof, a little bit of AR ammo, but not the big pot, not the small shield potions that you want to see.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for a late game as well. Quinn, though, might just get gifted in turn with an opportunity to get a pick right there. Doesn't actually take it. Lizard finally gets taken out. Quinn's nemesis this game. Kickback still alive. Kickback performed well early. Kind of fell off last couple games. Looking to go big here in game number 6. There's one. Nice job. Thanks for the siphon. Thanks for the siphon. As Kickback now continues to roll.
Misses that shotgun, though. He might wind up paying for that later on. Now we see the power position that Latsinho is in. We'll have to see if Zone pulls his way. There's a lot of players down below this mountain. So Fallout, if this zone pulls up to the north or to the west, this is going to be a big problem for players trying to get up. There's so many builds that it just buries people and they get caught up in Storm. We'll have to see where the 6th zone pulls out because that'll determine how it plays for a lot of these players. But no, we are going straight west almost.
Yep. So verticality won't be a crucial component of this late game necessarily, but I'm just so surprised, really this entire game. Quinn's been dealing with kind of shambles of a situation. First loot, rotation, Storm Surge, stuck in a 1v1 against Lizard, and somehow has battled through all of it. I've been impressed. I've also been impressed by Latsinho, holding high ground and maintaining control. 92 mats left. And here we go. Quinn, 100 HP, 100 shield, can actually take some storm damage intentionally here, quite a bit. It has some health bounce back from. All for a rotation. Okay. Interesting stuff from Quinn so far, but big brain plays going on the far right side. I like this rotation from Quinn.
Yeah, knows he has that meat in his inventory, so gonna decide to use it. There's a player right in his box, in his face, gets some shots off. He's down to 65 HP. Quinn is able to sneak out of there, but not without expending a good bit, and he's gonna be down again. Needs those white heals. Now we check in with Pearl, who's on the other side of zone, making these rotates with the peppers.
Shambles situation continues for Quinn. Meanwhile, Pearl has also found a way to just perform well throughout this entire game. Was not in the best situation, but got that siphon on that rotation that really helped. Knack also alive with ultimate high ground here. 23 players remain. Game 6, we have our top 4 alive. I believe Latsinho alive as well. Knack, Pearl, Latsinho, and Quinn to close this one out with our Jordan number. 23 players left in this one.
And He wants to win this game. He's not leaving this in anybody else's hands. He doesn't care if Pearl is going to stay alive. Knack wants to grab this victory royale and take it for himself as Sidla looked to go for the medkit play, decides not to. Knack up on high ground. Quinn, Pearl checking in with all of our leaders here. We get to see the side-by-side, and it's going to come down to Knack versus Pearl. Knack really needs... He's got to look for Pearl. I don't know that he can actually do it, but if he could, that would be the play, because he's so far up in points ahead of Knack. If Pearl just stays alive, there is no coming back here.
Yeah, and Pearl's gotten 2 elims as well. That certainly helped. I think Quinn just got a pick on Snap. Yes, Quinn did. Taking quite a bit of storm damage here, and you're going to have to actually fight through recycled builds to make it through back end zone. I'm looking at the left side of my screen here now. Looking back at the picture-in-picture. Knack on high ground. Knack might be a game win away from winning this unless Pearl gets second or third. Pearl had a significant advantage in this one. Pearl finds 1, goes to the pick, almost gets it. Not going to connect for it just yet necessarily. Quinn's still alive on the mid-ground. Latinho right above him. Knack right above him.
And all of these players fighting our top 4 still alive in this game. We see the fights, the shots coming through. Pearl going for one. Sizz Lucky able to get an elimination there on the low ground. Knack is running dangerously low on builds. Matt is Peppers right there to build him into Storm. Quinn is also low on builds, it appears. He's jumping in. Down goes Boomer to Pearl. That's another elim. Pearl picking them up, and Quinn goes down. It is now a battle between Knack and Pearl. Who is going to take this home?
You got to think Pearl's so well positioned. 4 eliminations. Great shields right now for this late game. Pearl, we're going to throw you up on the big screen, bud, because guess what? You've been performing so well this entire tournament. I've been beyond impressed by the gameplay of Pearl here. Pearl against Knack, against Sizz Lucky, and one other to close this one out. Game number 6, Pearl on top. He's going to pop a big pot just for the good record here, as Pearl in a perfect position to win it. Knack takes out Sizz Lucky. Pearl right above him. And there you have it. Knack is out of this one. Pearl in the top 2. Will he get the victory royale just to put a cherry on top? No. Pearl will get taken out to the storm here, but it doesn't matter. Pearl's going to be your champion here of NA West. Congratulations to Pearl.
He takes it home in the final match. Doesn't get first place, but he'll take a second. He will take that top prize. What a game and performance by him today. I mean, just consistency. That was all he did. Every single game, making those end games, and even showing off the performance in that last one, even though he doesn't win.
Yeah, there was mid to late game in game 2 where I said, you know what, keep an eye on this Pearl character, because Pearl continues to play so incredibly consistent, was the most consistent player in those first few games, and that ended up being true through game 6, most consistent game a player across all 6 games. Another top 2 finish right there. They'll put Pearl in first. The question is, second and third between Quinn and Knack is going to be pretty close, because Knack did make it a little bit longer, but Quinn had an 11-point advantage, and I think Quinn got a few limbs there. I think Knack might have had enough to take home that second place, because every place obviously matters for overall Scholastic prize pool, so we'll keep a close eye on the standings. We also will probably have replays, I believe, on screen here momentarily in a second for game number 6. It was certainly a crazy game number 6, though, wasn't it? Somebody's gun.
That was nuts. To see all of our top 4 in this final game, the final few moments just hanging in there, trying their best to push themselves up the leaderboard to possibly win this tournament. They didn't know whether or not the player would be taking them down, and we'll have to see who is taking home our last replays of the day here.
That's right. You already know you got to put Pearl on screen to start things off here. This is where he just ran a train through beta. Look at that. With the support of his teammate behind him is what it looked like. Pearl gets that siphon. That siphon might have been the difference, because Pearl was in a pretty bad spot right there in a late rotation. Was a little low in health. And then after that, really, it was the Pearl show. From 2 to 3 to 4 eliminations, comes out in second place overall. Sizz Lucky popping off here, pretty much guaranteeing Sizz Lucky a top 7 placement, I believe. And in the end, Pearl doesn't win the game, but Pearl wins the tournament. Matters most. I'm sure he'd rather have that and $4,000 in Scholastic prizing support for Pearl. The first place finish. Kudos to Pearl. But we're, of course, going to jump to a very quick break as we calculate the standings. I can't wait to show you the standings when we come back. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to the PlayVS Spring College Championship featuring Fortnite. I cannot wait to take a look at these standings and see exactly where everything shook out. Of course, before we do that, let's take a quick reminder of the overall Scholastic prize pool and what's at stake for this tournament. First place will take home $4,000 in Scholastic prizing. All the way down to fifth place, $1,125, so still over the 1K mark. And then, of course, that ranges all the way down to 50th place. So 26th through 50th will walk home with something, $100 in 50th place. And as a result of that, we're going to work our way backwards from 50th place all the way to that top standing page in the overall graphics. And, of course, to kick things off, we got teammates who qualified through, got the $100 in 50th. All the way through, you see Bankai, you see OA Rubik's, you see JG9, a few others here in our first page as we flip over to 31 through 40. Walk us through it, somebody.
Yeah, we see Kizzy, Iro, Chip Spit, Yatrick, the 24-year-old who may be going on 60, or he's also on 60 FPS. We got J-Wiz, Logdog, Snap, Jade, and Kuma rounding out our 30 to 40. Then, from bottom up, we have Matt Has Peppers, so putting himself in 30th place after that last win. Thanks for Siphon. We got Girl in Red, Soyduck, J-Rips, Vex, Energy, Jindo Lab, Water Blanket, and That's our 20 to 30.
There we go. This is where things get interesting. Our top 20, Fluffy Panda rounding it out in 20th place. Starfire, all the way from Arizona State University, I believe. Kikachu on screen. AE Lizard from British Columbia, aka Canada. Derpy is fishing, playing all the way from Texas A&M. Shout out to Derpy, playing incredibly well throughout. Teo, I believe, coming from California. BST, and a few others. Kickback, Sully, and others in the top 10. And that rounds out our top 20. Let's take a look at our top 10 and see exactly where everything shook out. And it was a 2-point difference between Knack and Quinn. That's one elim, one placement. But in the end, Knack takes the second place spot over Quinn. Quinn still walks home with over $1,000 in Scholastic prize. Congrats to him. Pearl in first place, though, so a major congratulations to Pearl. You're champion of the NA West PlayVS tournament. Congratulations to Pearl. And, of course, rounding out the top 10, we got Chenkins, who broke into the top 9. Sis Lucky broke top 5. Latinho, who played very, very well. ZD Zaz, ZD Boomer, the ZD crew holding it down for 7th and 8th, and Flipper actually breaks to that top 10. Your thoughts? Somebody's got.
Man, what a game, and it was so close. I didn't even think, I knew it was close, but 2 points between second and third. I mean, Pearl ran away with that one in that final game. Props to him. Congrats, my man. I hope you have a wonderful evening, as well as enjoy your collegiate career with the little boosted Scholastic prizing. Sis Lucky Chankins, though, coming out of almost nowhere after a poor few first games, putting themselves in the top 10, but Pearl, Knack, Quinn, you guys, spotlights on you. Top 3, well done.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And, if you're playing at one of the 70-plus schools that offers scholarships to Fortnite on top of everything that PlayVS is providing, you're feeling pretty happy right now. And if you're in high school and you're watching right now, or you're in college and want to pursue a collegiate Fortnite career, you, of course, can get a scholarship to play Fortnite, or you can, of course, play in continued PlayVS tournaments. They've been going on for over a year. They'll, of course, continue. Big shout out to PlayVS. It's amazing what PlayVS has done to transform and accelerate the growth of collegiate and high school esports across the country and in Canada. PlayVS is leading the way, which is great to see. But we're, of course, going to wrap up the day here. I want to throw it to you. Somebody's got any final words or any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Man, just shout out to everyone at PlayVS for helping put this on, for doing all the work behind the scenes. Fallout and I, we're the faces, but there's so much that goes on. All the guys behind the scenes doing production, we can't do it without you. We have the easy job. Those guys behind us, even though they're not actually behind us, they're doing the hard work. Thank you guys. It's a blessing and so enjoyable to cast with you here, Fallout.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback off of that. Big shout out to Dream Sloth holding it down for the PlayVS crew. He's been awesome in chat and also helping brief us and keeping us ready. Monster D-Face, my man, who's been absolutely hustling. And, of course, the entire Prac Server team for production. PlayVS, of course, for the support of collegiate and high school esports, the continued trajectory and support. We had Nikolai directing and producing. So thank you to the entire production team, all the staff behind the scenes. Thank you to every single one of y'all. Sorry at Bluff, and unfortunately just had horrible luck today. Clearly Bluff is a great player, but nonetheless, congratulations to our top 3. Congratulations to all of our players that played and competed here. Our top 50 for walking home for part of that Scholastic prize pool. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. On behalf of myself, I'm Fallout, alongside Somebody's Gun, our first time casting together. It was an absolute pleasure. We'll catch you next time at the next PlayVS event.